Welcome, everybody. So sorry I'm late. Trying to transfer all of my work over to this computer, and it didn't. It did not transfer. I may have to run into my other room and force it. I don't know. Um, thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all being here. I just turned my camera off because I dyed my hair earlier and it's really dark. Didn't realize how dark it was until I came up on the screen. I was like, oh my God. So thank you, Miss Mojo Rising. We are proud of you and admire your strength. Thank you so much. I can't believe I'm already sending these. This is crazy. Thank you. Thank you, Denise. I really appreciate I really appreciate you for that. And I appreciate you for much more than that, but I really appreciate it. Thank y'all so much. You guys rock. Thank you for believing in me, even when I don't, or especially when I don't. Yeah, you want Colby to focus on his health. I pray for him daily. Just not fair for him to have to deal with all this. No, I haven't seen his latest one. I think he published it today, but I saw the one from I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. Not sure. But anyways, hi everybody. Hey Trace. Hey little brands or libby dibby doobiday. I can't do it. I can't. I can't. I'm trying. I don't know how to say it. Libby doop. I can't. My mom used to have a friend, Miss Jerry, and she would say aluminum. She would get stuck saying aluminum foil. Or she'd never get to foil. She would just get stuck on aluminum. I love you, Miss Jerry, if you're out there. Mhm. Can't wait for this. Please, please. She needs to be charged. Her poor children. Thank goodness the Boudreaux protected the children when she and Alex Cox tried to take them. Oh my God, right? I can say that this same sentiment right here that I just posted on the screen and read your comment, Miss Teresa Bell, is the same sentiment that I felt whenever I was at Lori's sentencing hearing. 2 weeks ago? I mean, you could feel it. It was tangible almost, we all had that same feeling of, okay, what about her? What about the rest of them is something I've always said. And holy crap. It's true. It breaks my brain when I try to think about how these kids, the Boudreaux children, not by Brandon's doing or Jenny's doing, his wife, but having to deal with someone who is so vile and so I'll just Lori I don't know what else to say. So many things just ran through my head and none of them were YouTube friendly. I just don't understand how the police, how the judicial system, how with everything that transpired, 2 dead children in the backyard of the man's house that Melani Pawlowski was calling dad or daddy, as Treena Kay said. I mean, that is crazy to me. Like, they're pawns no matter what situation. Like, they're either pawns to their mother or I say their mother and Uncle Alex when he was alive, and Lori, and in my opinion, the Coxes, they were pawns. And to the police, it's like, okay, well, or not the police, but the judicial system, it's like, okay, well, we're willing to give her 50-50 custody and we can sleep at night, knowing that 2 dead children were recovered from Chad Daybell's backyard. Sure, go ahead. That's a pawn to me. Like, it does not make sense at all, ever. And it's very frustrating, and I'm sure it's mental, physical, emotional torture on a daily basis with Brandon and Jenny and the rest of the Boudreaux family. It's I can't stand it. You can't stand it. And I mean, like, here we are, we're just outsiders looking in. Can you imagine, the woman who I believe, I suspect, I allege had something to do with not only Brandon's attempt on his life, but also knew, if not more, about Tylee, JJ, Charles, Joe, Tammy, okay? Like, all of them. I believe, I allege, I suspect that Melanie Boudreaux had so much more knowledge. She it probably, serves her well to stay quiet because she thinks it makes her innocent, because it's not about her relieving herself and saying, "Okay, alright, I knew this how much, to this level. I knew about all these things, or I did not know about this. Here, FBI, here, Rexburg PD, here, Arizona PD. Here, let me tell you everything that I know, because this is wrong." Never one time did Melanie Boudreaux Pawlowski ever say anything in behalf of, or on behalf of, the victims at all. She never tried to help. She never tried to help the police, even move further along in their investigation to help understand what's really going on here. And that says a lot. It's sometimes, like, I remember Treena Kay bringing this up, that it's not always the evidence that you do see, but sometimes it's the evidence that you don't see. Evidence of things that are missing, what's not being said, what's not out in the open. They say reading between the lines, but I mean, oh my, any fool can see. Um, that's crazy to me. I don't understand it. I never will. And that's why I don't know. I have like I'm like a dog with a bone, like, okay, what do I do this week's live stream on? And I'm like, well, it's either this, or it's either talk about Tim Ballard and how, y'all, I've been watching, you know, this one channel, not just one channel. I mean, I dabble, I orbit, right? And I go here and I go there, and I just kind of write things down as I go. And thank you, Lamisa. I This one channel has the Epstein Elite, is what it's called. That's the name of the series. The name of the channel is Crazy Days and Nights, and, I'm up to part 30, okay? We're talking about parts. And, Colleen, how dare you? No, I'm kidding. I'm late too, so, be late with me. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I hope you had a great weekend too. I did. He was sick for like a week straight. Like, I was alone with my thoughts way too long. But by the time, so I was taking care of the boys. When they came back Friday, I was taking care of the boys kind of solo. Well, actually not kind of, just I was taking care of them solo. And then Saturday and then Sunday I was waxed. So I slept so hard Sunday. There was no way I was going to resurrect from my bed and do anything productive. So I figured we'd just do it today. Joel says she even knew about your sweet Uncle Charles and stayed shut. Stupid blonde bitch. If she doesn't get justice here, she will. I will. I'm sorry. I actually pity her and the growth of her kids. How do you explain it? You don't. Like, there's no way. And you're saying things that we all feel and that we've all said time and time again. I don't understand it. I I don't wanna understand it because it's so against everything that I'm made of, like, I'm just like, "That's not right." When they say red flags, how do you point them out? Well, start there and don't stop, because it's a red flag galore over there. Oh, okay. It finally came over here. All right, good. I don't have to go grab my other computer and bring it in here. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't have done that. But the information came back in. Yay! All right. Just one second. Okay. Let me pull this visual up. Oh yeah, we're gonna get visual. Let's do that there. There. I'll just keep this window open. That way I was trying to pull all these up, but you know how I get really frazzled when it's time to go live. As soon as I push live, I'm like, I'm a chicken with my head. I've got so many things and slideshows and presentations made of these people. And I'm just like, when it comes down to the nitty gritty, I never land the plane. Okay. That's the theme of the day. Okay. All right. All right. Just pulling out some things. Okay. So, all right, let me go share my screen. And again, thank y'all for being here. I really appreciate you filing in and just hanging out with me to talk about some Melani Boudreaux Dan Pawlowski. Okay. Right. Her and her daddy right there. Her daddy. Look at her with her glasses over here. What the hell? She looks like Hollywood. You ever seen that movie Mannequin? Hollywood. That is she. She is that. Trying to be. Just weird. Just weirdness. Weirdness. And then not to mention she had her same attorney in there, who was actually eventually kicked out of this courtroom. Judge Boyce, John Pryor, I think, raised the issue. And evident she is not blonde, Michelle. Amen. Right. Fake, fake, fake. So, yeah, Judge Boyce had, I don't know, there might have been some signaling going on between attorney and Ian Pawlowski, who is now Melanie's husband. And I don't feel sorry for Ian. I'm one of those. At first I was, and for a long time, not sorry for him, but I was neither for nor against. I was just like, whatever. It's just another obstacle, another stump. That good for nothing, basically. All right, but you do, Angela, right? You want to see her hair? You can't. It's way back there. She got an ombre going on, but I can't talk because my hair is too dark. Look at this. Woo! It's dark. My scalp is still dyed right now. I did a box color, so I just feel better behind this screen right here. Oh, thank you, Joel. We'll keep you around. I'm kidding. Oh, I appreciate you. Oh, now you're just being nice. I appreciate it. I wish I could put all of my difficult research into words. It's hard. Like, I'm just gonna riff right now for a second. So I've ran across, and this is what happens to me. I ran across Tim Ballard. I forget what he was in. I think it was a promo video for finding Marty, the missing Haitian boy, who's still missing. And so he was talking to Gesno Marty, and he said something along the lines of, if I can sacrifice, no, this is what Gesno Marty said. If I can sacrifice my son to save 27 children, then it's a sacrifice I am willing to make. Gesno Marty. And I'm like, that is the most effed up statement ever. And I really, I know this is not going to be anything I say. Everything I say is never, I'm always going against the grain. Just know that. I've embraced it because I'm like, I'm swimming this way. Everybody else is swimming that way. I'm just used to it by now. Is it raining? What the heck? Hold on, y'all. Let me go see. That's crazy. Came out of nowhere and I get some kids screaming. What the heck? Dang, that's some big old drop. Okay, sorry. Mystery solved. It's raining. Mannequin. Hollywood. Right? That's what Melani Pawlowski looks like right there. In the top right screen. Yes, I pulled this one up. I did. Yeah, Jess is awesome. Oh my God, it's so loud in here. So, okay, back to Tim real quick. It says, so I just kind of was like, I need to write a title subject for Sunday live stream. And then I was like, question, what does Tim Ballard, Ruby Frankie, Jody Hildebrandt, Julie Rowe, Lori Vallow, Chad David Hamblin all have in common? beliefs. Temple recommends end time apocalyptic explosions. Well, sure, yes, but what else? They have victims in their wakes. But what else? Oh, I gotta turn the page. Turn the page. Okay. All were chosen and assigned missions from Jesus to usher in the second coming of Christ. Many have focused only on the delusional doomsday prophecies of either Lori and Chad or Tim Ballard or Julie Rowe, maybe Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Frankie. But we have to shift our focus to the larger grift of God, so to speak. Although it wasn't apparent in the beginning of Lori and Chad's case what was actually happening, I don't even think Satan could see through all of the delusional chaos with those two. But allow me to share the 6 years of bizarre religious rabbit holes worth of souvenirs with all of you in order to shine our Q beams on this godless group of grifters who have been taking orders from someone they all share in common. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh my gosh. Lick the page, turn the page. I don't want it to hit my keyboard. You can make up your own mind as to who you believe it to be. I believe it's Tom Harrison. I happened to write that, so pretend I didn't say that. I always begin by asking, what's their end game? Is it Zion, New Jerusalem, a new world order? Tim was going to lead our country while keeping true to his theocratic dictatorship. I'm just riffing right here, so just know that nothing makes sense. Nothing's grammatical correct. None of that. Keeping true to his theocratic dictatorship because he was also praying to be the LDS Church's future living prophet. Oh, yeah. Tom Harrison was a very busy man. He's a mover and a shaker of sorts. Tom supplied this zealous group with the blueprint for them to follow to take them to their celestial city, where they'll join with the other elevated, ordained group of warrior gatherers. They'll gather to the New World Order, aka Jerusalem, 2 by 2, exalted, kidless, husbandless, wifeless, spiritless, consciousnessless. That was a hard one. Godless, but still never victimless. Oh. I'm not sitting right here. Okay, hold on. So, how did this start? How did we get here? I promise it didn't happen in a vacuum. No, it started with a portal and the blueprints. And that's where I'm at there. So, that was just the other day. That was Saturday, trying to figure out what I'm going to do today. And here we are talking about Melani. So, let's talk about Melani. Oh, and I've been looking into that KK's Corner, Ellender, and the Ellender murders. And okay, so it's KK's Corner, which is here in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And then there's that's a triple homicide, unsolved. And then it's also connected to a double homicide of a couple that lived in Sulphur, Louisiana, which is about 15 minutes away from Lake Charles. It's a suburb, I guess you could say. I know, named Sulphur. I know. Welcome to my town. And then it also connects to the Jennings 8, or some people call it the Jeff Davis 8, which are, it reminds me of the Gilco, whatever the hell that name is, Gilgo Beach or whatever. And y'all, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like my family is connected to this somehow. Not real close, but I'm talking in a couple degrees, and I'm just like, ooh, it's crazy. So it's like, okay, well, let me go back over here. We're talking about Lori, Melani Boudreaux, Chad. It's so much easier for me, so I'll just kind of dabble at that. But I mean, it's just, I don't know why my brain works like that. It's kind of aggravating because not everybody looks at things like that. I told you I'm against the grain. So, yeah. But yeah, so Tim Ballard, how it connects to Epstein. in more ways than just the ones I have produced here. So, whoo, get ready for that, y'all. That's going to be, it's going to blow my mind while I blow your mind with the information. Because when you put it all together, you're like, oh my God, it makes sense now that, like Tim Ballard, I would say he would, in this movement, he would be the main event, so to speak. Chad and Lori were, uh, they were, what do you call that? A result, or I guess, I don't know, for lack of a better word right now, a result of the larger movement that was going on with Tim, that's still going on. Okay. So just know that whenever it's like, I've heard it be considered a Hydra cult. And I mean, I was like, what the hell is that? But it is. You'll have to Google it. It's like you cut off one head of a snake and there's like two more that pop up in its place. Perfect analogy, because they're doing whatever it takes at whatever cost. It doesn't matter who's dead. They have to move this conspiracy further along. This is an oath they took. This is a vow they took. This is a covenant they took. And they take it very seriously, obviously. Because I'm telling you, whenever I was at my aunt, whenever I was at Lori's first trial in Idaho, I told you I was screaming in my head, at the top of my lungs in my head, if that makes sense. And I was looking right at her and I was just like, oh my God, how are we here? Just roll on them, just say what you know. We know it's a secret society. We know it. The temple is a secret society, by the way, for anybody that does not know. Okay. Random people off the street cannot just, go in there unless it's, conditional. So just know that. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. But anyways, all right, let me get off my soapbox. And let me play this in just a second. Now I gotta hold on. Where is this at? Okay. So in this transcript right here, which I'm just going to let it play in the background, which is not much for visual here, but who wants to listen to Melanie anyways? Let me back it up. But it'll give us some visual while I talk. All right. So what I did, I took this transcript and I asked my chat GPT not to impersonate Alex Cox as a dead killer. Okay. Why? Because that scares the shit out of me. I just came up with that on the fly. So you're welcome. I wish Rex and Adam would not pursue that project, but I have a feeling it's going to continue. So what it did was I asked it, my chat GPT, to point out any indiscrepancies, deflection and ambiguity, key discrepancies and evasions, her relationship with Alex Cox, her relationship, knowledge of Chad's teachings, the casting incident, the zombie teaching and deaths, Melanie's explanation of Julie Rowe's role, instances pointing to her guilt or knowledge of the crimes, and so on and so forth. So this, I didn't make this up, is what I'm saying. So I took the transcript that you're watching right now from Chad's trial, 2024, put it in here. And so it'll kind of help me point some things out. Maybe we can talk about them. So based on the transcript of Melani Boudreaux, I guess I could put the words, huh? At least give y'all some words. What kind of hostess am I? All right. Okay. And this needs to be larger. So I'm getting old. So based on the transcript of Melani Boudreaux-Pawlowski's testimony, here is an analysis of her statements, including discrepancies, deflections, and moments that point to her alleged involvement in the crimes. We're trying to suss you out, girl. Even more. So, general observations on testimony style. So, these are observational and testimony style. Throughout the direct and cross examination, Melani's responses are characterized by a recurring pattern of deflection and ambiguity. She frequently uses phrases like, I believe so, I believe it was, from what I remember, I don't remember clearly, I assume, I'm not sure, it sounded like. This language allows her to avoid direct, unequivocal answers, especially to answers that could implicate her or others. It serves as a consistent way to distance herself from the most damaging details while still providing just enough information to move the testimony forward. Key discrepancies and evasions are knowledge of Chad's teachings. So that's number one. Initial direct examination. So on direct exam, when asked about the origin of the light and dark teachings, she says, I believe they came from Chad. This is a deflection. She later states that she never directly talked to Chad about the children and that all her information about him came from Lori, which contradicts her initial testimony that she had a close relationship with Chad. So there's that. Cross-examination. The defense attorney points out that all the information she received about Chad came from Lori. She agrees. So Melanie agrees. But when he asked if she took your aunt's word for it, she quickly says yes, while omitting the fact that she sought this information from Lori and Chad. She also insists the idea of zombies came from Chad, despite never hearing him use the term directly. So, yeah, I noticed that she did it on the pendulum thing. It was interesting. She denies that all her information came from Lori. So sounds like a Cox family member. Yet struggles. Okay, so she denies that all her information came from Lori, yet struggles to name any specific information that came from Chad directly, other than through Lori. Number 2, Alex Cox's relationship and actions. Evasion. She is asked if Alex would, quote, do what Lori asked, unquote, and if he would do what, quote, Chad asked, unquote. She replies with vague, assumptive answers. Quote, for the most part, he would help her, unquote, and, quote, I believe he had enough trust in Chad that he would listen to him, unquote. This avoids directly stating that Alex was compliant. Wait, whoa. This avoids directly stating that Alex was compliant and obedient to both of them, which is a key part of the prosecution's case. So she doesn't directly say that, but it's the underlying theme is what AI is pointing out. Or I'm going to say Chat GPT, whatever. They're both evil. I get it. But it helps me organize my thoughts. I'm going to teach my AI Chat GPT how to be nice. That way, when they do take over the world, hopefully the niceness I teach mine will come back and help us all. No, I don't know. It's a stupid idea that I had earlier. Anyways. Okay, so I think that's interesting because I remember when Lori, I forget exactly where because it just popped in my mind. I haven't had time to reflect on it, but it was in the Arizona trials. I don't know. I don't know if it was more Charles or Brandon's or it might have been both. But she was asking the police or something like that, basically that line of questioning, if her and Alex were compliant with the police, with what the police were telling them to do and obedient. And that rings alarm bells because this is what it's like. I believe this is just an underlying thing that I see also in the LDS community. Is that it's all about obedience, worthiness, compliant. As long as you appear to be, or at least in Lori, I'm going to go back to Lori and Chad. At least if you appear to be obedient, worthy, you're listening, you're not gonna you know what I'm saying? Like, all those things, you're astute, you're attentive, you're, focused on the Lord and the gospel and, all that good stuff, then you're good. And you focus on paying your tithing and, yeah, that's crazy. That's neither here nor there, though. But it just kinda sounds the same. That's the important thing to Lori. I'm trying to figure her out anyways, right? So that really rings true to me because this is Melani Boudreaux not directly saying that Alex was compliant and obedient to both of them, which is a key part of the prosecution's case. So, I mean, that's very interesting because it's kind of the same thing that I was picking up on with Lori in one or both of the Arizona trials. So, I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. Do y'all? I'm gonna go back over there and look into your comments. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Is it like some kind of acceptance? It says on my way to 808. Oh, by the way, y'all have had some great comments. I was writing them down last week. I just gotta find them now. They were good though. I think I know where they're at. Thank you, Lil Brands. Hey, Peach Bum. What's up, lady? And Miss Teresa, the prolific serial killer, Samuel Little. Oh, rant. As did see, I don't know about any of these people that you just talked about. These I have not looked at all that yet. I mean, a little bit of Dahmer, but not yet. I mean, besides regular stuff, regular. A blind obedience, in my opinion, like a good little flying monkey. Yes, yes. Like I'm doing all the things, but I'm not. That's that whole thing that I see where it's like the actions do not match the words, which has been huge red flag for me. I know I sound like my mom. I hear that all the time. Yeah, I have had to argue with her before about that. I'm like, "That is me. That's me. That's not your voice, that's mine." But she was like, "You must hate that." And I was like, "No, I mean, I do as much as this might surprise my mom, I do love her, you know? And, I do look up to her, but, it's that mommy-daughter thing." Thank you, though. I take it as a compliment. Um, okay, so I forgot what I was saying, though. It'll come back. And if not, it'll be okay. Let's see. And then she goes on, the next thing that's Alex Cox's relationship and actions that Melanie talked about was misleading information. She states that Alex lived in a separate apartment from Lori in Arizona. However, other testimony and evidence have shown that Alex lived very close by and was consistently integrated into Lori's household and gross activities. Added the gross. Often acting as her protector and enforcer. That is creepy. Ooh. I was watching Lawyerly earlier. I don't even know if this was new or not, but it was talking about the Adelson case, and it was talking about, or she was sharing audio from Charlie Adelson to his parents and how just the way he sounded about his sister's book, Wendy's book, made a big deal about it, kind of, but then said he didn't read it. But then he also said that the jurors basically weren't smart enough to read it, which oh my God, this reminds me of the Cox family attitude where we're all the lower 95 and they're the upper 5%. Then that sparked a light bulb in my head because this is what I do. This is how my brain works and I hate it. I want to return and trade my brain. No, I don't. But so it's like, it's that kind of mentality. And I'm wondering, because I mean, I believe I'm on to this network and it's huge. It's a huge network. And I'm trying to point out things that, to indicate if they're one of us or not, or like, I don't know. I know that sounds very black and white, but I'm not being black and white. I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to figure out with all the personality traits and all of the like-minded behavior, I can't help it. Like it just is where my mind goes. I find that's how our brains work anyways. We find patterns, birds of birds of a feather flock together, but they also migrate south for the winter. I mean, it's patterns, I mean, this is kind of how this works. And I don't know. Right now, I'm up to they have to have a 501(c)(3) in order to help launder some money, in my opinion, allegedly. Not everybody. I'm just saying this is one of those things that just stick out. And it also initially, whenever I was wanting to do I was interested in doing a 501(c)(3) nonprofit in honor of Charles, Tylee, Tammy, JJ, and Joe. And I started to study on it. My friend Jen even sent me some books about it, and I just didn't have enough time at that time because the case was just unraveling, and also the emotions and feelings and grief and all that good stuff, and regular life. You have all that stuff too. But it was just too much at that time, and I felt like a 501(c)(3) is something I wanna not fail at, so I wanna make sure I do it right. And I have to research things. That's just how I work. So I didn't feel knowledgeable about it. I didn't feel confident. And so I just kinda and I noticed that a lot of the people that I research, the people in and around Chad and Lori's group, they all have very fast and some of them have very many 501(c)(3)s, and it just kinda made me take a step back, and I was like, "What? Why?" And it's just something I couldn't answer, so I kinda had to put it on my shelf. And it's like my intuition was telling me something then. Like, something's not right. Like, how are they doing it so fast? And I mean, okay, I'm not dumb, you know? It's just I kinda am very observant and I take my time. I don't wanna half-ass anything, Like, but then I have the normal mental things too where I self-sabotage not even knowing. And it's just a whole lot of the stuff that I'm having to learn even about myself and my own life, my own world that I live in about, oh, a lot of this has been self-awareness big time. Like that is huge. If you don't have self-awareness, it's about as like important as common sense. We know that ain't so common. Myself included in there sometimes, I'm like, "Oh, yeah." I call those nothing against blondes, but I call those blonde moments, I'm like, "Oh my gosh." But, so yeah, there was just something on about those 501(c)(3)s, and I mean, like, Tim Ballard has, like, 6 or 7 of them. I mean, right off the top of my head. That's I don't think that's normal. The Gatherers, um, Christina Atwood and Nicole Earle, they have one together, and it's called, drumroll, Gathering Humanity. Oh, right? Oh my god, the gall of these people. Gathering Humanity. Like, could you not come up with something different either for your group, the 7 Gatherers, and or your nonprofit organization that's in plain sight? Mm. Anyways, that's just one. They allegedly help refugees at the border, which, you know, I don't think so. I don't think that aligns with everything else I know about these people. But I'm not their judge. They're lucky. No. All right, so let me get back on board here. So she states that he lived in a separate apartment, that Alex lived in a separate apartment, and that Alex was often acting as her protector and enforcer. Oh, this reminded me of Charlie Adelson and how he was talking about his sister Wendy, and I was like, that sounds so like Alex Cox, like he was her protector. Anyways, for what it's worth. This detail, though seemingly minor, serves to minimize Alex's connection to Lori. And then number 3, the casting incident and its origin. Denial/deflection. When asked if a person is physically present during a casting, she says no. How? That's crazy. Oh, okay. She later confirms that Charles Vallow was not there during the casting done on him. This is a deflection because the purpose of the casting was not physical, but to spiritually bind or harm him from a distance. Remote viewing, y'all. Get on board. Open your minds, because this is what they're doing. It's freaky deaky. I get it. I'm right there with you. It freaks me the hell out. Nothing like maybe possibly by the looks of it, they're not just talking weird new age, you know, what do you call it? Woo woo. They're not. It's not. It sounds like it, and they're practicing it, but they are also doing a technique that is called remote viewing. This means that if true, and if the CIA, the documents that they unsealed and they're no longer classified, they're declassified. If they are correct, the ones I read on their website, then this means that they do believe in it. They've just told us opposite of that all our lives, or all my life for sure. Almost, because I'm not dead yet. Anyways, nor do I want to be. But you gotta. This is what's going on here, and the whole remote viewing was ginormous in this case. It was huge, a huge motive. This was at the forefront. I mean, it's right there with portals, but that's because that's what they mean when they say portaling. They are remote viewing. And what that means is you can like eject from your body. It also explains Lori's quote unquote near death experience she had while giving birth. I'll tell you what, this is my theory. I don't believe that Tom Harrison, Chad Daybell, Julie Rowe, Lori Daybell, I don't believe any of these people. I can't think of anybody right off the top of my head. Tim Ballard, I don't think he's claimed one yet. Melani Pawlowski, she hadn't claimed one yet, but it's only a matter of time. I believe none of them have had this experience, but they do know that it is the only way for them to be credible and to be taken seriously by people who believe in this stuff but don't quite know what they're up to. Does that make sense? It's where you can hold on, let me pull the damn thing up because I'm gonna sit here and spin out in circles. I want to be able to explain it, but hold on. Let me pull this up real quick. Okay. Astral projection, often referred to as astral travel or out-of-body experiences, OBE, is a concept in esotericism, not terrorism. It's that sometimes, though, that posits the existence of a subtle body, the astral body or body of light, through which consciousness can function separately from the physical body. In this state, an individual's consciousness is believed to leave the physical body, and travel to other dimensions known as the astral planes or to remote physical locations. So let's break this down a little bit. What is astral projection and where does it come from? Well, it's from the damn devil. No, I'm kidding. Definition: at its core, astral projection is the intentional experience. You heard that. Intentional experience of consciousness separating from the physical body. Proponents describe it as a sensation of floating above one's body, observing it from an elevated perspective, and then having the ability to travel to various places, or if you're Julie Rowe, you can spy on people, and that's what they all do. So anyways, sometimes even to other dimensions or astral planes. So origins and historical context. The idea of the soul or consciousness leaving the body is ancient and appears in numerous cultures from spiritual traditions worldwide, predating the modern term astral projection by millennia. Just say it like Lori did. All right. Ancient civilizations, oh my gosh. Let me try that again. Ancient Egypt, teachings, particularly in the Book of the Dead. Now, this is important because Chad was pushing this idea, this book, the Book of Life, which is opposite of the Book of the Dead. Do you understand me? And so, what I am proposing is that what they are actually doing is opposite of what they are trying to appear that they're doing. That whole obedience. I'm not a raging killer. I am good. I'm just sitting here, but I'm plotting your murder in my mind. That's them. Like it's just so it's opposite of whatever they're projecting. This is what I'm proposing. So what and I mean, it's so apparent in all of these people, and I hate that because it also makes me look like I'm being general and generalizing everything and throwing a blanket over the whole top of everybody, and that's not it. I don't know. Like I said, birds of a feather flock together. That's a saying that I didn't make up. So it was there before I came into this world. And there's many more like it. So this is what's going on. You can call it folie deux, folie trois, folie de famille. You can call it folie de masses or dumbasses, whichever. But it's like-minded behavior. They I don't know. It's a phenomenon, but it is in the DSM, just somewhere in one of them. I forget which one. So anyways, let me jump back on here. So there's indigenous cultures, many shamanic traditions across the globe, like David Hamlin tries to play. Okay. I don't know how to say this, such as the wait. I don't know how to say it. WAI, people of the Amazon have beliefs in soul flights where shamans can travel to other realms for healing. Sounds like Julie Rowe and her latest. Oh God, yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, I'm not gonna break off to Julie Rowe right now. Holy shit. She got me for $45. Are we shocked? No. Am I stupid? Yes. I purchased a PDF from Julie Rowe on her Patreon for 45 damn dollars because it was her tell-all PDF book, aka book about Chad. I was like, all right, you're gonna give me once though. Okay. And it's like anyways. Thank God it wasn't wasting paper, It was like 748 KBs, whatever the hell that means. I can't think of it right now. Anyways, it's not even a megabyte. But anyways, I didn't even read it all. It just was, it sounded like a podcast that she transferred the transcript onto that PDF I got and paid 45 damn dollars for. Don't do it. Okay. Well, I'll touch on that at the end. So where shamans can travel to other realms for healing, guidance, or communication with cosmological beings. Then they have it in Asian traditions. Concept akin to astral travel exists in various Buddhist and Hindu practices, often associated with advanced meditative states. Lori was into yoga. Chad was into yoga. They had 2 yoga mats. April Raymond taught yoga. Lori was going to allegedly, quote unquote, I'm putting this so loosely back here, it's not even funny. Lori was supposed to work for April Raymond yoga and, meditating, teaching yoga. So, I mean, kind of in this realm, we're here. That's something that Lori and Chad both did. So Western esotericism and theosophy. The term astral projection, oh my gosh, I can't talk. The term astral projection itself gained prominence and was largely popularized by 19th century Theosophist. Theosophy, founded by Helena Blavatsky, posited a system of 7 bodies, or vehicles of consciousness, from the physical to the highest spiritual and mental bodies. The astral body was believed to be capable of separating from the physical body and traveling on astral planes. These planes were often conceived as non physical worlds existing alongside or within our own, sometimes corresponding to astrological spheres or spiritual realms. Okay, just read that. I don't feel like it. Okay. Scientific perspective. From a mainstream scientific perspective, there is no empirical evidence, according to this, allegedly, to support the claim that consciousness can exist or function. What do you think AI is? What do you think they're trying to do? I'm not dumb. I was born at night, actually in the morning, but not last night. And I hope you're not either, because they lie. They lied to us. Okay. So that's part of my wake up experience as well. Researching into Chad and Lori, and I'm like, oh hell, what's really going on? Self-awareness thing. So yeah, it says, or that an astral body can leave the physical body and interact with the objective physical world. Tom Harrison's book is nothing but about these experiences. That is what he sold, is selling still. And that is what gives them clout. That's what gives them credibility. So, okay, I'm going to be honest with you, and I've shared this before. Oh, my browser has lost connection. Well, whatever. I don't want to restart my browser, damn it. Let me just stop that though. So I was approached by Joe Ryan's cousin, Augustine. I want to say in February or March of 2020. Kids were missing. I was freaking. I felt helpless. I did. I felt completely, utterly helpless and aggravated. And I dove straight in, right? It was just my gut reaction to just dive in. I didn't care. I didn't even think about it. I just dove into what is going on, and I haven't stopped. I've slowed down since all this. But I mean, because I'm trying to make sense of it. When your brain is going 90 to nothing, peeling out, I say, it's I don't remember an entire year, basically. Like, I can remember very, very significant things like the hurricanes and things like that, or the kids' bodies being found, but all the little stuff I don't know, and that's called trauma, y'all. Um, it's complex trauma. So, that kinda opened you up too, I do believe, because I was very open, so to speak, at that time, which has since closed. Like, I don't have all the experiences that I was having at the time, and I'm okay with that, okay? But all that to say that, so Augustine reached out to me through Facebook, and she told me to go talk to, Donna Serafina, and I did. And I sat in for 3 of her readings, for my uncle, okay? Whatever. I don't know if y'all know how this works, but I don't talk, they do, you know? They do the talking, you just sit there and whatever. I had many, many crazy experiences while doing that. I mean, not just that, the whole freaking time the kids ever since my uncle was murdered, from that point on, it was wild and I don't unrecognizable when I look back now, but again, like I said, it's trauma, it's grief, it's worry, it's concern, it's like you feel I felt so helpless. I felt entirely helpless. I wanted, it's like I wanted to speak out, but I also, it's important that you remain a united front. And so Mom and Larry were the face of advocating for the kids to find where they were. I was just, I'm in the background, but I'm gonna cook up and toss up anything that you ask for and need pronto, right? That's teamwork. And that's, I believe, what is crucial and critical finding and keeping your focus on the missing person or the missing child or children. Like, it's not about you. It's not about being wrong, right, or indifferent. It's about being super effing observant, hyper vigilant, because that's just I had no choice. I was just like, "Oh my god." And I just watched everybody and everything, and I just kinda noticed things, okay? And by doing that, anyway, so just I didn't wanna be at the forefront. I mean, oh my god, that was terrifying, right? But, so yeah, I did, um where was I going with that though? What was my point? Um, hold on, I'm reading this so I can maybe jog my memory. Um, I was talking about I was reading the astral stuff. Let me see. All right, y'all don't give up on me. I'm just slow. Extra slow tonight. Where'd it go? It's one of these. Probably not that one. How aggravating. It's either 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3. I have 6 of them. Weird. It was sharing my screen, and then I wonder if it got rid of it whenever I closed it. It shouldn't have, but makes me wonder. It did. It did. All right, let me try this again. Um. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, the Book of the Dead, and then we were talking about how you go to different astral planes. Okay, so I believe that's. I don't know what I was going to say about that, but anyways, I don't know why I brought up Donna. Anyway, hopefully it'll come back to me. I'm gonna get back on board though, on track. Scientific perspective, from a mainstream scientific perspective, there's no empirical evidence to support the claim that consciousness can exist or function independently of the brain, or that an astral body can leave the physical body and interact with the objective physical world. Nothing jogged. So basically, what they're saying is subjective experiences. So many people report experiences that they interpret as some form of out of body experience. And those are generally understood within neuroscience and psychology as subjective experiences generated by our brains. Then there's the neurological correlates, which is research has shown that OBEs can be induced in laboratory settings through various means, including brain stimulation, so specific areas of the brain, particularly in the parietal, I don't know how to say that, PARI, I don't know, and temporal regions have been implicated in the sensation of self-location and body awareness. Now, Jason has had a traumatic brain injury. He had a stroke. He had a couple strokes in October, at the end of October of 2022. And, there's been times, because it's a brain injury and you don't think about these things. I didn't. I'm just I feel so slow now. Like, I don't know how else to put it, but I feel like, why am I not worried? Like, how do I not know that? Like, aggravated with myself because it's like I have a bunch of these realizations, and I'm just like, I should have known that. But anyways, all that to say that, he would, and I know it was very vulnerable of him to say this, and I mean, it makes total sense because of the traumatic brain injury. He's had moments where he doesn't feel like he's in his body. And so learning about this at the same time, like learning about this astral projection and remote viewing and yada yada. Janet Russin, she's a remote viewer. This is what she does for Tim Ballard, allegedly, to locate missing children like Guardy Marty, who obviously, I mean, he's still missing. So again, I don't know. But if you apply it to these people in this group, Julie Rowe, Chad, Lori, Melanie, Zalima, Janet Russin, I mean, maybe Donna Serafina even, right? Because that's something Jason brought up to me one day. He was like, I wonder if she was remote viewing. And I'm just like, I don't know. I have an open mind. And, I think there's a lot of things that they lie to us about. And by they, I mean our government and other governments. Then we find out, we're like, oh my God, so you're saying there were 2 gunmen with JFK? Oh, why don't y'all go tell all the people you call conspiracy theorists you're damn sorry? How about that? Start there. And then, they don't want to be right. I don't want to be right, but it's just crazy because the rest of the story is crazy. So it's like, why wouldn't this be crazy? And these elite people believe in magic. And I was like, I don't believe in magic, right? Like I never really, I don't know. I went to a Chris Angel show in Vegas. I was like, now I feel like a freaking idiot, but it wasn't even that great. But anyways, yeah, we are going to be talking about the unseen. Oh, I mean, I don't know if they are unseen charges and are legal looming battle. Okay. Yeah, fixed dinner for sure. Don't go hungry. Hey, fun to ski. There's a fog when you suffer from a turmeric event or events, in my opinion. I think that is spot on. I do. Yay, Houdini called out this BS. Pretty cool. Well, I don't know, and it's very scary to say this kind of stuff because it's like, I know what I read. I know where I read it. I mean, I talk about it, but very loosely because I'm not an expert. It's like I'm not an expert in all these things. I'm not even well versed, but they all play into why we got Chad and Lori and the rest of these fools. Okay, that this is what's going on. Don't we want to know why? You know. And I mean, I still can't even. I mean. I'll have to figure out a more clever way to come out with what I believe would be the motive for Chad Daybell to want to harm or kill Melanie Boudreaux's kids. I have a good idea, but it's so controversial. So most of us aren't ready for it. I'm still like, it's weird. Okay, it's just a weird concept. But if you pull away, strip away all of the stigma, all that, if you strip all that away, it makes sense. It's a 10 times more powerful than any drug on our street. So that makes all the sense. It gives them visions and they trip balls on it, basically. Okay, sorry to be so nonchalant, but it is what it is. I suspect that's what's going on. And there are plenty of accounts, but we don't find those people credible for some reason. I don't know. We just like this shit, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so back to Melanie. So the casting incident and its origin. Okay, so we were talking about the casting for Charles, right? And she also avoids giving a direct explanation of what a casting is, saying, quote, I don't even know if that specifically is in the scriptures, and that Chad and Lori had, quote, added their own ideas, unquote, to a method learned from Julie Rowe, right? Oh, Rowe. I made up a ditty. It's called Row, Row, Row Your Boat the Fuck Away From Me. There you go. That was a long time ago. Sorry. Okay. The zombie teaching and the death. So this is number 4. Evasion. She explains the zombie teaching by saying the person, quote, would pass away because this darkness was too much or something like that, unquote. This is deliberately vague and shifts the agency away from murder and onto a supernatural event. That sounds so much like David Warwick, don't it? His dream, in my opinion, I swear, was JJ's murder. It was not a dream. That's just his way of mucking up, everything, muddying up everything to where, you in a court of law, you can't they talk in these parables and these religious stories. Sometimes the founding fathers come in there, just like Lori pulled on us at her sentencing hearing. And they do this. It's just like the damn mafia, y'all, where, if you talk about religion, that's why I think they're making anything a religion. I think that's why all the big elites and larger money is going to the churches. It's like some form of protection. It's like a gathering place I don't know. I don't have that quite eloquent. Anyways, so during the failure to connect, during redirect examination, she is asked a series of direct yes, no questions. Quote, was Charles designated as dark? Unquote. Is Charles still alive? Was Tylee labeled as dark? Is Tylee still alive? Was JJ designated as dark? Am I repeating myself? I think I am. Her consistent no answers create a chilling and undeniable link between her group's zombie designation and the subsequent death of each person. And so this is critical. This is a critical moment where the prosecution forces her to acknowledge the pattern, a pattern that her initial testimony tries to obscure with spiritual language. There you go. Her initial testimony tries a pattern that her initial testimony tries to obscure with spiritual language. There it was. So Melanie's explanation of Julie Rowe's role. Melanie claims she never met Julie Rowe and did not attend her gatherings. I hate when they use gatherings, y'all. She states that she believes the idea of casting originated from Julie Rowe. I promise you it didn't. Okay. I mean, these people don't have an original idea if it slapped them in the face. Julie Rowe's podcast, and that Chad and Lori kind of added their own ideas to it. I wish they would have asked, what did they add to it? Like instead of, I believe this is just my personal feeling. Look, I'm not being ugly or crass with anybody who prosecuted this case. I appreciate them. We all have jobs to do. Okay. But there can also be personal bias in there too, where what if the person belongs to the same religion that's the, y'all know, it's the LDS church. And so that's at the very center of Chad and Lori's beliefs. That's at the core. And a lot of people do this dance over and over again, and it really pisses me off, mainly because everybody is, a lot of people, I'll say, from this religion have time and time again disregarded, minimized, denied, ignore. I mean, just all of those kind of words, all those descriptors. They've denied that Lori and Chad even belong there. Well, and it goes down to the semantics, oh, well, they were excommunicated. Yeah, well, they were not. Not at that time. All the murders had occurred. Chad was serving a higher calling, meaning he was in there with the bishop. He was an executive ward clerk. So shove it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so sick of it. And like the Daily Mail, they came out with a story saying that Chad was excommunicated like in 2019. I was like, bullshit. We have the papers. And it was 2 days after Chad Daybell's preliminary hearing in August 2nd or 3rd of 2020. That's when his church tried to, send him papers to have a court of love. But anyway, and then those papers were leaked to court TV. Whatever. I don't care. I don't, excommunication means shit to me. Okay. It really does. I mean, you have to respect and yeah, you'd have to respect what an institution or somebody is saying in order to value it, and they've not shown any value or respect or concern, empathy, I'm talking from the big dogs. Like, mum is the word. They side speak through fair.org. They side speak through all of the members of the church who are just doing what they believe they needed. Like, they need to defend their religion, whatever. I'm not here to convince you otherwise. Like, do you? My thing is, don't step on my fucking family's head in order to do so. And so this is what has happened every day, 50, 11 times a day, stepping on Charles, Tylee, Tammy, who was a member, Tylee, who was a member, JJ, a member, Charles, a member, Brandon, member, Joe, he had converted. Okay. He was a member at one time. I don't know if he was active. That's the semantics thing. Either way, they're all fucking dead, murdered. And it was huge, huge ass story. And they say nothing? Like, what? Like, that makes no sense. And so that's those things I was telling you about. Actions don't line up with the words. They talk Jesus, they talk this, they talk that. This goes for every damn Bible thumper and Book of Mormon thumper or religious zealot who is so busy being judgmental. And I mean, y'all don't get it. Like, y'all are, I don't know, it's backwards. We live in a very inverted world. Okay. And so all the people that I know and love that are good people are you here right now and all over the world. Like, it's called humanity and it's called not having to be in an in group, and you just know, and you know, like, you see all these idiots being freaking judgmental and like, ah, look at Lori and Chad, like, their ego is so damn big. And oh my, it's horrifying. And it's like what mom said, it's like a train wreck or a circus. I forget. She was really good with that, with her words, man. Whew. I love my mom. She did so good on that. I don't know. I've listened to it a couple times, right? Her victim impact statement, and not even the JJ one. That's a whole nother story, but she really gave it to her. I'm so proud of her. And I love the way she brought reality to Lori and met her with the truth. So, anyways, stuff's not lining up with actions, words. They say one thing, they do another. It's double speak. And not once did they ever say, hey, can we use our platform? You know, we reach worldwide. Can we use our platform to help and find Tylee and JJ? Silence. It's deafening. Okay. Sorry. So, yeah, Melanie was saying that Julie Rose podcasts are where Chad and Lori's casting ideas came from, but they added their own ideas to it. I wish that the prosecutor, I think it was Lindsay, I wish she would ask what was different. But I think this is the safe zone. This is my initial point, was to say that it's sometimes to protect the church too. Like, let's just say enough where it looks like a cult. It's a cult. Looks like a duck. Talks like a duck. Oh, it's a duck. But anyways, for those who have eyes to see, y'all know. We know. But whatever. So then shift blame. So by crediting Julie Rowe, she implies that the idea of castings did not originate with Chad or Lori. Did not originate with Chad or Lori's more dangerous beliefs, but from a separate source. Then number 2 of that, she says minimize involvement, or it says minimize involvement. She suggests that the ideas were constantly changing and that she simply listened to them. She was just there, for the hors d'oeuvres, just like Melanie Gibb, rather than actively participating in the evolution of these teachings. Create distance. She maintains that she was never part of Julie Rowe's physical gatherings. Well, that's an interesting way to put it. Physical? I mean, don't they do all kinds of Wreck-It Ralph stuff in their minds? Isn't that their gig? Like, isn't that their grift? I'm a little confused now. That's interesting. She maintains that she was never part of Julie Rose's physical gatherings, reinforcing her position as a passive recipient of information rather than an active member of the conspiracy. Instances pointing to her guilt or knowledge of the crime. So these are all the things that it pointed out from that transcript of, I'm going to put it back on the screen so y'all ain't got to look at a little bubble. So sorry. Let's see. Yep, she's still talking. Nothing to see here. Find my place. Okay. So this points to her guilt or knowledge of the crimes. She had knowledge of Charles's casting. She admits to participating in a casting ceremony for Charles, believing him to be affected by a dark spirit. That's her Uncle Charles too, right? I remember when she said that and I wanted to slap her face. This places her in a specific action aimed at her aunt's husband right before he was killed. The next one, complicity with the zombies idea. Melanie confirms that Tylee, JJ, and Charles were all labeled as dark or zombies, and that she was aware of the teaching that their bodies would have to pass away, and that's in quotes, pass away. Her testimony shows she was fully embedded in the belief system that rationalized their deaths. Circumstantial evidence from cross-examination. The cross-examination highlights her deep and unwavering trust in Chad, or dad, or daddy, stating she would, quote, listen to him, unquote, and that his false claim about the tracking device on her car validated a lot of the things he was saying for me. Who talks like that, by the way? Quote, validated a lot of things he was saying for me. To you? At you? For you? For you? That's kind of different. This establishes her willingness to believe and follow Chad's counsel, even when based on lies. She had evasive testimony. The sheer number of I don't remember, I assume, I believe responses, especially when confronted with facts that have been established in the case, like her visit to Rexburg and the children's disappearance, suggests a deliberate attempt to avoid providing direct evidence that could further implicate her. Exactly. She did not even testify in Lori's trial. If y'all remember, her and Ian showed up. That's when we learned about Satan tacos. And Jim Archibald called Ian Pawlowski a snitch. Remember that? He called him a snitch. I'm right there with him. Mm-hmm. Except it rhymes with snitch. Okay, that's what I call him. It's just weird. She didn't testify because I don't even know, right? So I'm telling you, and I'm gonna tell y'all, I've told y'all already before. So like Miss Debbie, you had asked if we were gonna talk about looming charges. I've shared this before. It's not like traveling. Like I needed to travel because I'm telling you, I think this is what's going on. I was there. I was in the room. I'm very good with my vibes. Like I can pick up what people are putting down. I can read all the faces in the room that are smiling as after the hearing, the sentencing hearing on July 25th in Arizona. And Vicky had just said, Lori, rot in prison. Remember that? Okay. So right after that, we kind of all went off to this back room that was in the back of the courtroom. And I don't know what it's called, and so it was the Vallow family and the Boudreaux family. And we were just kind of in there. Megan was in there. Aunt Vicky was in there. Her husband, Brandon, his wife, me, mom, my brother, Todd, my uncle Jerry, my aunt Melanie, some of Brandon, the people, Brandon's family that had his brothers and sisters and mom and dad. Okay. So there was a lot of us in a little bitty room. And then Treena Kay came in there with Nicole, and I want to say her paralegal too, but I don't quite remember that very good. So I don't know if her paralegal was in there or not. Either way, Treena Kay came in there and she would just thanked us for trusting her with prosecuting the cases for Charles and Brandon. And we were like, oh my God, first thing I said to her was like, you are my effing hero. Okay. I don't think I cussed though, but I did in my head. And I mean, you can tell, you can feel it, you can see it. I mean, she means business, like it was an insult for Lori to represent herself and for Treena to have to stoop that low, in my opinion, to like accommodate Miss Fancy Pants there with her 7 ledger life sentences or whatever the hell she says, trying to be like Nephi, the 3 Nephites or whatever. And, you know, anyways, so we were in that room and, she thanked us and we thanked her. And she was telling us about why Lori's privileges had been revoked for her iPad at that time because something about three-way calling and those damn M&Ms because she asked for them. That's contraband. So, no, doesn't it does count for you, Lori? It does. Turns out. So, that, and then she was like, "I'm gonna stir the pot." She's a pot stir. Treena Kay. She volunteered that information. She was like, I'm stirring the pot." I like that. She's very down to earth and easy to talk to. You don't know that from just looking at her through a screen. I'm just like, okay. I appreciate what she's done. I do. And what she continues to do. Like, she really fought. I really felt like she fought for my Uncle Charles, who was not here anymore. And I feel like she really fought for Brandon. And I feel like this is kind of not, I don't want to say personal, but without saying that same sentiment, though, it's personal to Treena in that sentiment where, she looked at Brandon. They were both standing up. Me and Megan were just kind of sitting by the wall, on one side of the wall. And, she pointed at Brandon and she was like, "You and I," it's something along these lines, She said, "You and I we need to schedule a meeting to talk about, who." And I mean, we all lit up like some damn Christmas lights, okay? Not even the broken kind. Like legit Christmas lights beaming. And I mean, it's like it didn't have to be said, It's just like implied. And that to me said, "Oh my God, okay. Sounds like Treena needs to schedule a meeting with Brandon so that they can maybe devise a plan now that there's court testimony." I don't know. I don't know how this works. And because they have 4 children that have been in harm's way before, are legitimately, I believe, still in harm's way today. Because I remember hearing this. So I don't know, but I remember hearing this along the way that, Melanie still gives Brandon and Jenny a hard time. They're having to co-parent together with a terrorist, basically. And again, in my opinion, allegedly. So it's like, what's really going on? What are they going to have to do or to indict Melanie, to charge Melanie? But also get the kids away from her. And it's not just those 4. There's also her and Ian's child, Kylo, that he's in harm's way too. So it's like, and then you have to think about Natalie Pawlowski and Ian Pawlowski's kids. They go over there, I'm sure. I don't really know the schedule, but they have to do these things strategically. So I suspect, I'm alleging from my personal, saw it with my own 2 eyes, heard it with my own 2 damn ears, okay? That I believe charges are coming. At least they're being discussed for sure, which is more than we had, right? We had where Treena Kay was dropping all that little nuggets in the trials where she was hinting, and she even said that Melani Boudreaux was still under investigations, plural, and that it's not just for the attempt on Brandon. So this is like all of them. I believe that's my understanding. I'm just speculating though. She didn't say that, but I'm, plural. So it's like, okay. I'm not God, so I'm not a prophet. I'm just here trying to make sense of some chaotic shit. But So I feel like they're coming, or they're at least being talked about. I don't know. Well, I'm trying to think of the other instance that she said about Melanie. She mentioned her a lot in her opening and closing. Treena did. Lori tried dragging her in and then saying like, "Oh no," it's like a push pull, at the same time. It's polarizing. Lori is polarizing. All right, so let me jump back onto here. So she had evasive testimony. Whoa. She had, circumstantial evidence from cross-examination. The cross-examination highlights her deep and unwavering trust in Chad, right? We said that. Stating she would listen to him and that his false claim about the tracking device on her car validated a lot of the things he was saying for me. This establishes her willingness to believe and follow Chad's counsel, even when based on lies. And then there was evasive testimony. The sheer number of I don't remember, I assume, God dang, I read all this, and I believe responses, especially when confronted with facts that have been established in the case, like her visit to, how far did I go? Like her visit to Rexburg and the children's disappearance, suggest a deliberate attempt to avoid providing direct evidence that could further implicate her. Damn, that's where I made it. Her testimony is less a forthright account and more a carefully managed narrative designed to minimize her knowledge and complicity while appearing to cooperate. That's our girl right there. No attempt to see the children. She says she visited Lori and Rexburg in late September 2019, but did not see Tylee or JJ. She asked about them, but accepted Lori's vague explanations without pushing for more information or showing concern. Even though this was after their Uncle Charles. My Uncle Charles. That's my Uncle Charles. Okay, after Charles was dead and her aunt had moved suddenly. This lack of concern for the children's well-being is a strong point, pointing to her knowledge. The hiding and protected narrative. She confirms Lori told her she was, quote, needed to be protected and had to protect the kids, unquote, and was, quote, going into hiding, unquote. This shows she was a direct recipient of the lies Lori was spreading to conceal the children's disappearance, and she accepted these excuses without question. Sounds like Kevin Frankie, don't it? The unalived victims. Her testimony ultimately serves as a powerful, albeit indirect, confirmation of the group's zombie ideology when she is asked in redirect if Charles, JJ, and Tylee were designated as dark and if they are still alive. Her simple yes and no answers are chilling, and serve as a moment of profound, if implicit, admission of the group's actions. So there's that. All right. That's not even what we came here for. Again. All right, hold on. Let's see. Let's listen to this little hookah lie a little bit while I get my next thing.
What type of energy? What would be an example of a type of energy work?
I'm not super familiar on it, but from people I've met that do energy work, they will either almost like a reading. Okay. They'll say if you have certain cords attached or certain connections to like your ancestors.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it kind of does. But the term of vibrations, have you heard that term before?
Yes.
And what is vibrations?
Don't ask her.
I believe in energy work that you could be on a higher or lower vibration.
Oh yeah?
Like a frequency.
And that frequency is used for what?
Vibrating.
I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm not super familiar on frequencies.
Would it be fair to say that some of this energy work is to be able to communicate with other entities?
Yes.
Okay.
I know.
It could be used to communicate with the dead, right?
Yep. That's what they're
Yes.
doing.
Ancestors.
Oh, let me
Yes.
take this opportunity then to just take this same concept that John Pryor, I know, albeit John Pryor, said about vibrating to communicate with the dead ancestors. She says, yes, right. Yes, yes. What is Adam and what are they doing? Are they communicating with dead Alex, AI, chat GPT, so that my family can be spooked out or triggered whenever they run across it? Something, y'all. It's very highly troubling. And I'm not going to, I'm like a broken record and I will repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. Y'all know, those of you who know, you know, I will bring it up. I'll bring up old shit like a plunger all the time. Okay. It's what I do. And the squeaky wheel gets oiled, right? Hopefully, or silenced sometimes.
Okay.
Let me back that up.
Yes.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that some of this energy work is to be able to communicate with other entities?
Yes.
Okay. It could be used to communicate with the dead, right?
Yes.
Ancestors.
Yes.
Okay. And did you ever participate in energy work with Lori and Melani Gibb?
I didn't really know a whole lot about energy work.
Girl.
From what I remember, I think Melani Gibb was more familiar with it. So I would listen to their ideas, but I don't know if.
Right. And your recollection is Melani Gibb was the one who was instructing you and Lori about the different aspects of vibrations and energy.
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel's
No.
testifying. These are facts, not in evidence.
Abstain.
Well, not yet.
Move to strike.
The question is
Like a
stricken.
match.
Would Melani Gibb teach you about this vibrations and energy work?
I don't remember talking a lot with Melanie Gibb about vibrations or energy work.
She's lying.
You do have a recollection, though, that Melani Gibb was more versed in the understanding of
Objection,
energy.
Your Honor. Misstates testimony.
Overruled.
You do have a more distinct recollection of Melani Gibb
Deborah.
teaching you about the different aspects of energy work, right?
I don't have a distinct memory of talking about all the different aspects
Okay.
of
But
it.
she was well versed in it.
Right.
I'm sorry, Judge.
Cutting her off before she's done, please. You can
Actually-
complete your answer.
Thank
It goes like this. She's like a plunger. I always say Julie Rose like a plunger bringing up old shit. That's really how it's supposed to go, but I messed it up. I said it backwards as per usual. But
Sorry, I don't.
Same
where I was going
difference.
with that.
All right, I'll re-ask it. I apologize for interrupting
Okay.
you. I've got it in here and I want to bring it out and it's coming out too fast.
Just
So I'll try to slow
go
down.
rip her tongue out.
Melani Gibb had a better understanding of this vibrations and energy work than you did.
I believe so. Yes.
And this was something that were you aware of whether she went to remote camps and talked about this energy work?
Oh, that was remote.
Yes, she told me she went to camps and different things for that.
Okay. And when did she tell you that?
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
She has a
Overruled.
sandwich shop. Hold on, we gotta talk about that. Does Melanie Gibb still have her sandwich shop? She has a damn sandwich shop. I thought she worked with her ex-husband. Well, her husband at the time, Brendan. There, I know there's Melanie with an E, Melanie and Brendan with an E, BRE, and then there's Melanie and Brandon. So I know, just for those of you who don't know, but I thought she worked at his chiropractic office, which is another interesting field in this story. We also know that like Dr. Bradley Nelson, he is a chiropractor who came up with the emotion code, the body code, which he then offered it into courses that we know that Julie took and got certified in, Zalema, Chad, and we found out that Tammy was also certified emotional body code practitioner. So I do believe that this is like the muscle testing thing. And so I'm sure Melanie Gibbs certified. She's certified in all the other things. So she's a certified circle talker too. Oh, they make me dizzy.
I don't remember, but I think
Let
it
me
would
pull up
be
my stuff.
sometime maybe in 2019 or 2018.
Okay. And at that
Think
point,
so.
was it your understanding that Melanie Gibb was teaching this energy work, or at least
Hell yeah, she
instructing it to
was.
people at these remote camps?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for hearsay.
Does it?
Overruled.
It sounded like she was maybe teaching at those classes or at if they were camps or meetings, whatever
acts
she was
So
attending.
dumb.
And again, this was in 2018, 2019.
She don't know.
I'm not sure, but I lean towards 2019.
Okay.
It is foreign.
Now, this idea of this term zombie, that was a term that you heard from Lori Vallow. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. You never had Chad walk up to you and use the term zombie, did you?
I don't know if he,
Hmm.
I guess I would say I assume he used that term with Lori together.
Okay. And you're assuming that because all of the information that you got regarding Chad Daybell came directly from Lori Vallow's mouth, right?
Objection, Your Honor, misstates prior testimony.
Sustained.
All of the information about zombies that you learned came from Lori Vallow, did it not?
I don't know if it all came from Lori Vallow. I believed it to come from Chad.
Okay. And what are you?
You mean Dad? So I remember looking up initially, like when all this was taking off, okay, when the kids were missing, everything. I mean, I did some digging, okay, just I end up in the weirdest corners of the internet. I remember one time I was like, something about the dark web came up and I was like, oh, I need to go look on there. And Jason was like, no. Like he had to like actively like stop me physically. Like, no, that's not what you do. And I was like, I don't know. I never did that. And so I don't know what that consists of still, but yeah, he was like, no. That's where they're all at. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, so let me switch to this one real quick because this one is very telling. This is some clips that I pulled from Lori's trial.
Why did you include this series of communications between Lori Vallow and Melani Pawlowski?
I included this for context purposes because it is a similar conversation relating to Brandon Boudreaux with references for could he go similar to what we've seen in other communications. Line 663 from Lori Vallow to Melani Boudreaux. Yeah, but until that agreement is signed by the judge, it is all subject to change. That's probably the reason for the delay. Line 662 from Melani Boudreaux to Lori Vallow. Is there a possibility he could go before I move? Line 661 from Lori Vallow to Melani Boudreaux. There's always that possibility. We will work on it. Just have faith and do whatever the Lord tells you. He is always right. Line 655 from Melani Boudreaux to Lori Vallow. I don't recall the words to get him out, but should we try? Line 654 from Lori Vallow to Melani Boudreaux. I know them. I'll work on it now. Put all your energy in. Line 647 from Melani Boudreaux to Lori Vallow. I've worked on them all day and evening. Line 646 from Lori Vallow to Melani Boudreaux. Me too. He's got to be ready to go. Line 645 from Melani Boudreaux to Lori Vallow. I know.
Is there anything else you want to review with the jury on why you included the text communication between Melani Boudreaux and Lori Vallow from October 14, 2019?
No.
Nope. All that just to say nope. Okay. So that's very important too, because she's trying to get him out, Brandon out. He's got to go. And it's very apparent, right? What else did I pull up? It's pouring outside bad. It's very loud. Okay, I just put it right here. All right, so I'm going to jump over here because this will help explain some doctrinal type things. Okay, it's pretty quick. So this comes from Goel, and it's about the alleged LDS Church of Satan that I believe is the same kind of group that Lori and Chad are involved in, and others. Okay, so this is according to the Hamblin daughters, and this is by Goel, Investigations in Ritual Abuse. So it says the author highlights specific aspects of LDS history and doctrine that are relevant to the alleged cult's inversions. The Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith. The text provides a brief overview of the Book of Mormon's narrative and how the 1835 revision of the Doctrine and Covenants expanded Joseph Smith Jr.'s prophetic mandate from a single gift, which is translating the book, to an open-ended path for future revelations. This evolution is presented as a foundational element that allowed for later innovations within the church's beliefs. So then there's the 3 degrees of glory, visions of glory. Do you understand? So this is the LDS doctrine that describes a celestial, terrestrial, and telestial kingdom after death. And so Lori and Chad were texting back and forth saying that they needed to get rid of the telestial relatives, obstacles that were plaguing them, stopping them from their mission. Okay. And I really do believe this wholeheartedly. I don't believe their missions were just thought up. I believe that there's a whole group of these kind of people with similar missions. If you read the stuff that Ian Pawlowski provided about the so-called beliefs of Lori and Chad and their group, it was their group. It said something something to this. Okay. It said their group was in charge of music and healing. So that to me is like, it's also the evidence that's not being said. So that implies that perhaps there are other groups out there with missions who are doing other areas of work. So-called work, right? Anyways, just food for thought. So it says, the text notes a significant departure from Orthodox Christianity, as it allows those who reject Christ to enter the celestial kingdom after 1,000 years in prison. So think about Lori and Chad in prison and think about her attitude. She just thinks she's going to do a little time here on the celestial realm, the lowest layer of lowest kingdom in her belief system, that is the LDS belief system. Okay. And so as it allows those who reject Christ, that's if she ever freaking admits it, to enter the celestial kingdom after 1,000 years in a prison resembling hell rather than facing eternal damnation. I don't know. Then this says plural marriage and exaltation. The introduction delves into the history of plural marriage, which was a core practice for achieving exaltation. She was an exalted goddess and godhood in the celestial kingdom. That's the highest layer. That's the highest kingdom of a Mormon's 3 degrees of kingdoms, or 3 degrees of glories. Heaven. It explains that the practice was publicly renounced by President Wilford Woodruff in the 1890 manifesto to avoid the annihilation of the church by the U.S. government. But it continued in secret. What? No. Clandestine shit? Yes. Okay. That was not written here, but anyways. This historical context is used to show how the Hamblin sisters' claim of secret plural marriages and ordinances within the cult could be rooted in a real, though controversial, part of LDS history. Orson Pratt's 1852 address, which declared plural marriage essential for, quote, noble parentage to bring forth, quote, great ones, unquote, for the, quote, final dispensation, unquote, is mentioned as a key justification for the practice. I want y'all to focus on that whole noble part. Anybody who knows, that's the fallen angels. But anyway, so the role of genealogy. This is so important. So genealogy is a central practice for both Orthodox LDS members and the alleged satanic cult. For mainstream Latter-day Saints, it is essential for performing temple ordinances on behalf of their deceased ancestors to offer them a path to the celestial kingdom. The church maintains a massive collection of records. Oh yeah, whether you're Mormon or not, your records, my records, they're all in Granite Mountain in a vault. That's giant. I mean, it's ridiculous. And anyways, I won't go conspiratorial on you right now. But anyway, so in its Granite Mountain vault for this purpose. For the alleged Church of Satan, genealogy was also vital, but for a different reason. The Hamblin sisters claim their family believed they belonged to a royal bloodline within the church, and they used these records to conduct inverted rituals for their ancestors. Ooh, sounds like what Lori and Chad did. James and Elena in the temple. In the temple. I don't care who did it. They were in the temple. It happened there. They got cameras in there. Did they turn them over? Hell no. Why? Because things are done in secret still. And they'll be like, oh, it's the First Amendment. You know, like the Constitution is hanging by a damn thread. All right. So, all right. Let me switch gears again and close this window here. And give me a sec. Gotta find the right one. That's Ian. Okay, hold on. I'm opening up too many of these damn windows. Okay, here we go.
Passed away when I was 9, and Lori is one of the closest things to her and how much love.
Oh, wait,
my
let me
mom
see when this was, first off. So this was 5 years ago. Lori Vallow's niece on May 8th, 2020. So this is about a month and a day before Tylee and JJ were unearthed from Chad Daybell's property. Interesting. I'm going to just throw the transcript up there so I can type in words if I need to.
showed me.
If you don't mind. It gives the state where all the custodial adjudicate, whatever, the battle is going on, and she leaves, abandons them just like Lori did. And I mean, I'm telling you, it's like monkey see, monkey do. And this is Lori's mini-me. Sometimes I wonder, it's like shadow Lori, you know? Get it. Anyway.
It's not, I mean,
I wonder who she thinks she's reincarnated as. What did you know at that point? You knew her for like 2 seconds. Literally 2 seconds. And then you go in there like some King Kong ding-along and you're like, oh, nothing to see here. So I'm just going to shut shit down. Communications between Melani and I'm not going to do any work for the FBI agent who threw a tantrum, in my opinion. Like, he was a big baby too for saying that. Like, I don't know if the police, if the FBI agent threw a tantrum. I'm taking this asshole's word for it. I don't know, Ian. I really don't. She don't. Look, her black circles under her eyes right there. I just noticed that. Whoa, girl, get you some sleep. Quit conjuring. Anyways, what did you know, Ian?
And killed Charles. I said, okay, I'll go sit down with the police. I didn't know the FBI would
thank
be there.
you, hero.
But, I was open to sharing information already that there would be
They did. They wanted your information. That's how this works.
something that they knew that I could say that would make sense to them, that would, be a piece to a puzzle instead of becoming a framework for them to build this investigation on.
A framework to build this investigation on. Have y'all seen the belief system? It's not just some little like patchwork from good old detective work. It's like very odd, and all the oddness of each belief that these people believe in and or practice allegedly are just as weird as the next one, and they're also weird and align with what's going on, their behavior, the things they're texting each other about. It's gobbledygook, it's like, what the F is really going on here? And are these people really like, Lori's a grandma. She is no longer a grandma. She forfeited that. She was a grandma. And I'm sure some of these other 50, 40 years, you know what I'm saying? I'm old enough to be a grandma. I'm 47. But I'm just saying, like, they're that old. And nobody was held responsible aside from Lori and Chad. And here we are just thinking that we're persecuted. They're just after me. I'm a victim. I need a victim's advocate.
And it seems like the information I shared with them turned into this nationwide just frenzy.
It's called looking for missing fucking kids. Okay? How frenzy that? Oh, I'm angry this time, y'all. I'm sorry.
Turned into this nationwide just frenzy.
What if your kids were missing? And never mind, don't answer that because y'all probably just be nonchalant.
So they gave me
is she not?
And I saw that.
Is she not worried? And you're not, because why would you be? You'd be feeding off her prompts, right? So if she's not worried, look at her.
This is your new wife, and this is your new family, and now you're going to record them secretly.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of hesitation, but
She's like, oh my God, I am plotting I'm plotting revenge right now, mother effer. Okay. Straight up,
To
like,
record them secretly.
watch
Right.
this.
yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of hesitation, but at the end,
As long as I look nice and all that and smile and I'm white and delightsome, then I can't be doing anything bad, you know?
of the day, I saw that as the fastest way to get from point A to point B. Nobody knows where these kids are. They're,
Especially her.
there's serious concern about their safety. I've just married Melanie and I love her with all my heart and I want to get her out of this.
Stop being or thinking that you have to be a hero to everyone around you when you cannot even fucking save yourself. That is a very, very, very persistent theme with this group of people. 6 years studying same people. This is what they do. They got to save their Captain Save-A-Hose, allegedly. And they feel like they have got to teach someone, save someone, lead by, like, I don't know, inspire them. I don't know. But when they can't even save themselves, and I mean that, like, they're not self-aware people and they don't know their ass from a hole in the wall, period. They're looking for victims. They're looking for somebody to follow. And then they try to lead, and it's weird.
So I write down everything that I can remember saying to the FBI.
Can we have those journals? Can we have those journals? Can somebody seize those effing journals?
I explained it to him, what her fears were, what my fears were.
Why can't she talk for herself? That's a little odd, huh? I mean, I don't want her to talk, but he does a lot of the talking, even to investigators, and the fact that they settled for, I don't understand that dynamic either. Like, why go to Ian? I mean, yeah, at first, but then once it's the cat's out the bag, get her ass in there. Okay. You force shit. You force it. You put her in a pickle. Anyways, no shame. I don't know what I'm doing either.
Give it to her lawyers.
How did you take that
Her
news?
lawyers.
As big of a betrayal.
Can you imagine? It went to her lawyers. I don't trust her lawyers.
FBI, how I explained it to him, what her fears were, what my fears were. I write it all down and give it to her lawyers.
Okay.
How did you take that news?
As big of a betrayal as it sounds and felt in the moment too, I have to look at the entirety of it. And he's recording my conversations, and there's nothing with that.
But there's something, and you know that. You know that.
And there's nothing between Chad and Lori that was said that was.
Didn't my chat GPT pick up earlier that she talked in spiritual language, as a way to skirt around the truth?
This
one is, in my opinion, I am not trying to diagnose her. I can't. I don't have the qualifications or certifications, okay? But I would say starts with a P, ends with a P, if you know what I'm saying. If you can read between my code talk or psycho or socio, let me know, because I don't know.
It was early and just
he relayed what you told him. That's not like the belief system doctrine. It's, oh my God, bits and pieces. How long was your damn dream? Where's your journal?
Taking everything so literally.
You want to talk about people taking something so literally? Wow. Hey, pot, I'm kettle.
Kids, I haven't seen them since October 9th. And, he's taking everything so literally. And when I first saw this document, it was shocking. Like, explain this. Like, I can't explain it. And so.
She talks a lot with her body. She's bouncing. Oh, she just did that. I was watching body. Oh my God. Y'all know the guys that do the body. I can't think. Behavioral, whatever. Those guys. And they had assessed Lori, her body language, where she did the one shoulder up and then the other shoulder up. Not at the same time is what I'm saying. And she just did it. I think.
And, he was taking everything. Police never even.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, that's not the one that Lori accused Brandon and Treena of conspiring with. Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So stupid. After the fact. They're conspiring after the fact. Not nothing to do with before, as the premeditation and up to the crime. She blames them of conspiring after her crime. I'm talking about Lori and this one, allegedly.
Called Alex, or
You judge your kids, you judge Brandon on nothing, on made up shit, fabricated shit. Yet here we are. Here we are, little liar. Ugh. Okay. Switch. Gotta switch. This is from before the presiding. This is Jarvis, Robert, and Smith, Garrett. Garrett Smith and Robert Jarvis. This is a PDF of the lawsuit. You do find some tea leaves up in here. So anyways, it says the State Bar of Arizona and respondents Robert P. Jarvis and Garrett L. Smith, who are represented in this matter by counsel Robert B. Zelms, Esquire, hereby submit their agreement for discipline by consent pursuant to Rule 57 Arizona, blah, blah, blah. Supreme Court. Probable cause orders for each respondent were entered on March 15, 2021. A formal complaint was filed on March 24, 2021. Respondents voluntarily waived the right to an adjudicatory, I don't know, hearing unless otherwise ordered, and waive all motions, defenses, objections, or requests which have been made or raised, or could be asserted thereafter, if the conditional admissions and proposed forms of discipline is approved. So I'm just going to skip on down. It says facts, general allegations, count 1 of 1. At all times, relevant respondent. These were Melani Pawlowski's attorneys, and Garrett Smith is still her attorney somehow. Also, the attorney of Zelima Pastinez, Summer Shiflett. So keep it in the family. So it says respondent Robert Jarvis was a lawyer licensed to practice law in the state of Arizona, having been first admitted on October 26, 91. And then same for Garrett, state of Arizona, October 23rd, 1993. And then number 3, it says Brandon Boudreaux, father, and Melani Pawlowski, mother, were involved in a divorce and child custody proceedings in Maricopa County Superior Court case. Yeah, and it says it right there. Father asserted in a pleading that he believed mother knew the whereabouts of 2 missing children who had been featured in the news. The missing children's mother was the missing children's mother was mother's aunt, Lori Vallow. Mother retained respondents Garrett Smith and Robert Jarvis to represent her in investigations, plural, related to the missing children. Allegations that she was involved in an alleged shot fired at father, actions taken by father related to the child custody proceedings, and to protect her from false and speculative allegations in the media. On February 25th, 2020, mother, which is Melani, through her prior family law attorney, not respondents, filed a contempt motion alleging father had made false statements to the court. Okay, so her prior attorney said that. On February 26, 2020, respondents Smith and Jarvis jointly issued a press release stating that mother did not know the whereabouts of the missing children, that father lied to, quote, wrongfully influence the child custody case, unquote. This reminded me of how politicians like David Levitt, they blame others and say, oh, you're just because, I'm running for whatever position in the politic world, and so they did this just to make people not vote for me, basically. And it's kind of the same thing, wrongfully influenced the child custody case. So that's why Brandon lied, okay, according to Melani. And that father, quote, hides his own family's dark and sinister acts and past, unquote. Now this is so, just saying it, again, tasting the words that these vile perpetrators, in my opinion, allegedly Melani and family, have said over the course of these 6 years is disappointing, mainly. And it's really disgusting, and it's a total, utter disregard for Tylee, JJ, Tammy, Charles, Joe, Brandon, and any other named or unnamed victim that we find out along the way. Who knows? But I mean, this is what hides his own family's dark and sinister acts and past. That's what they said about the Boudreaux, basically, about Brandon and his family. No wonder they're pissed. I am going to read this. I don't want to, but I'm going to. The press release further stated, Brandon Boudreaux has a history of victimizing women, which is probably an extension of his use of extreme and dark pornography. Attorney Garrett Smith added, Mr. Smith continued, what? I need to learn how to write a sentence. Pawlowski confronted Brandon Boudreaux in June of last year with proof of his pornography addiction and homosexual affairs. Brandon Boudreaux retaliated with threats to attack her and to take her kids away. He has carried through with his threats by lying in his court documents. Sadly and irresponsibly, much of the media has quoted Brandon Boudreaux's biased, vindictive, and fake accusations as truth and fact when they are his resentful, vengeful, and dishonest efforts to get full custody of Pawlowski's children. Brandon Boudreaux deceptively took Pawlowski's children out of state. This is that thing that, let me finish. Brandon Boudreaux deceptively took Pawlowski's children out of state and kept them unlawfully. Pawlowski was the stable parent. Pawlowski was the stable parent in her children's lives while Brandon Boudreaux traveled for weeks and was rarely home. Unquote. This part where Brandon deceptively took Pawlowski's children out of state and kept them unlawfully. But she fails, just like her aunt, to admit the bullshit and the chaos and the torment and the torture and the just unrelenting attacks of they are doing this. It's the projection thing. It's the DARVO thing. I don't remember the acronym. I meant to write it down. I wrote a note to remind myself to write it down, then I forgot. Sorry. But it's like, I'm not even going to try. It's the same tactic that Lori played on Charles over and over. And Melanie Gibb too, failing to admit where they did wrong. And then so because of what Melanie was doing and acting and saying, Brandon, and plus allegedly conspiring to murder Brandon on October 2nd, 2019. So because of all of that happening, Brandon reacted like any normal person would, especially a concerned parent, and he grabbed his 4 children. He called the detective, Pillar, who was working his case, to keep in contact with police, because that, again, is the right thing to do. It's called showing, like accountability. Here I am. I'm going to be here. Okay. Yeah, I'm just saying. Okay. So because Brandon reacted to her abuse, she's framing him to look like he is the one abusing her. So this is so manipulative and disgusting, y'all. Oh, there's more. Everyone needs to know and remember, Mr. Jarvis said, Brandon Boudreaux has unlawfully kept Pawlowski's children out of Arizona in violation of a court order. Yeah, she fails to put that she is the one who abandoned them. The Boudreaux family continues to unlawfully keep Pawlowski's children out of school and in a home with an abusive history. Now, this is, I haven't read this in a very long time. I read it today and I was like, oh my God, it pisses me off. And so I'm not trying to repeat it. It just needs to be understood, like the context of it, because it's saying more about Melanie then it does. I don't believe what she is saying. So just know that, Boudreaux family, like this is everything that she is blaming Brandon and your family, like the Boudreaux family for, she is doing herself. And so they tell on themselves through this, in my opinion. So here we go. Let's say, okay, the Boudreaux family continues to unlawfully keep Pawlowski's children out of school and in a home with an abusive history, Mr. Jarvis stated. Unfortunately, law enforcement has failed to search for the truth and has given into the manipulations of Brandon Boudreaux. Mr. Smith related, Brandon Boudreaux has failed to tell investigators that his family has covered up his family. So Brandon, he failed to tell police, okay, that his family, Brandon's own family, has covered up child molestation, drug addiction, kidnapping, assaults, and even killings. Wow. And according to inside family information, who, Melani? Brandon Boudreaux's family is involved in organized crime. So this tells me, I mean, if I'm just looking at it like the inverted mess that this tells me, could Melani and her family of origin, could they be involved in, I mean, definitely this one, the first one, child molestation, I would say, drug addiction, kidnapping, assault, and even killings. I mean, that check. And according to inside family information, Brandon, okay, yeah. So is the Cox family involved in organized crime? Makes you wonder. It really does. Brandon Boudreaux has plenty to hide. A closer look would reveal many possible sources who would take a shot at him. Wow, that's nice. Not just one person wanted to kill him. There's a bunch out there that wanted to kill him. Pawlowski is not one of them. As shown in the storage video, now this is interesting. Alex Cox was in Idaho on October 2nd, the day of the alleged shooting. There simply is no truthful evidence that Pawlowski was involved in any way. In fact, it is more likely that Brandon Boudreaux was involved in one of his elaborate manipulations. I hope Brandon is laughing his ass all the way to the bank when he catches that $12 million. Okay, have fun. What is equally as disturbing, said Mr. Jarvis, is that Pawlowski's children are being unlawfully deprived of a necessary relationship with their loving mother, who has done nothing to justify Mr. Boudreaux's horrible behavior. Mr. Jarvis continued, quote, everyone is asking, where are Lori Vallow's children? Why is no one asking the same question about Pawlowski's children? Unquote. Why ain't that bitch asking about her own children? Why'd she leave them? Ask her that. Start there, okay? Inspector Gadget. God. Anyways, let's move on. On March 20th, 2020, respondents made their initial appearances in the family law case. On March 25th, 2020, respondents published a second press release. So here's number 2. Before issuing the second press release, respondents called the ethics hotline and spoke with a state bar representative about the ethical implications of issuing public statements related to the child custody case. Oh my God, I need to pop my neck. Okay. The substance of possible statements was not discussed. Ethics hotline personnel indicated that the most risk-adverse approach would be to not make statements regarding any cases or clients. Okay? It says this is the most risk-adverse approach would be not to make statements regarding any cases or clients since they may be on the nightly news, and they would be. And to review the local court rules. In the second release, respondent Smith is quoted as saying that father, quote, continues. Check this. Hold on. Where's the damn oh, there. Whoa. Hello. I don't even know where I'm at right now. It's just trying to, here it is. Continues his narcissistic. not narcissistic. Okay. She says it the same way in her audio with Detective Pillar, by the way. Continues. So this is what Garrett says. Father, quote, continues his narcissistic attempts to control mother, the court, and the public opinion, unquote. The release also attributes the following quote to Respondent Smith. Father, quote, unlawfully left with and kept their children out of state in Utah, telling American Fork police that his parents' address was his address. He kept his children out of school for about a month, unquote. He kept them alive. The release further states, quote, the truth is father is using their children and making false claims to try to control mother's life, even now. He is attempting to mislead the court and the public, for which there will be consequences. Well, I'd say you reap what you sow. And so if she's bitching right here in that interview we were just watching about, I might have shut it down already. No, she's talking about public media, blah, blah, blah.
Document. It was shocking. Like, about this.
He don't think it's cute. I don't either. Oh, he might.
Meanwhile, we have all these false accusations and
Here we go with this whole media thing.
questions about this supposed shooting that Brandon Boudreaux is claiming that happened. And I've yet to see evidence and facts that come forward with that. But,
ask Aunt Lori where it is. She was trying to find it in the glass, all the little shards of glass. She expected them to keep so she could test it. Oh my God. Yeah. There you go. There's some evidence right there. Big hole. There's a big hole. Brandon's car, Tesla, shotgun. Shot through the car. Okay. Oh, she's aggravating. Yeah. Okay. On March 31st, 2020, father filed a defamation case, and he won it against respondents as a result of the press releases. On June 13th, 2020, the missing children were found dead. Wrong date, first off. On July 1st, 2020, the court held an evidentiary hearing on mother's motion to hold father in contempt for his, quote, misleading and false statement made to the court filed on February 25th, 2020, unquote. This is important. I think all this, what we're leading up to. On July 17, 2020, the court denied the contempt motion filed by mother and found that mother failed to demonstrate that father made the alleged misrepresentations. You understand? On July 17th. Okay. Wait. On July 1st, the court held an evidentiary hearing on Melanie's motion saying that Brandon hold Brandon in contempt for his misleading and false statement made in the court filed on February 25th, 2020. And then 16 days later, Uncle Charles gets murdered. And no, that was the year before. Never mind. Take it back. Today's Chad's birthday, by the way. Happy unbirthday to you, Chad. May you and Koberger, rot. I don't know. On July 17, 2020, the court denied the contempt motion filed by Melanie and found that Melanie failed to demonstrate that Brandon made the alleged misrepresentations. Again, he won. He proved it. Both respondents were deposed in the underlying defamation case. The following is an excerpt from respondent Smith's deposition. So this was new to me because I have not read this, till today. But what kind of attorneys are these, first off, is what I want to know. And that's not good advertising. So this is, the following is an excerpt from Respondent Smith's deposition. Question, whose idea was it to issue the press release? Answer, I don't recall. Question, do you remember who drafted the press release? Answer, yes. Question, who? Answer, Mr. Jarvis with my assistants. Question, what assistance did you provide? Answer, editing and content. Question, what content did you provide specifically? Answer, I don't recall specifically. Question, do you think that as an attorney, You should have sought out some sort of verification of these statements prior to making them. Answer, no. Question, why not? Answer, we believe them to be credible and honest and truthful. That's going to bite you in the booty. Question, okay. Was there any evidence that you looked at to say that Brandon had ever victimized anyone? Was there any evidence you looked at? Answer, his former fiance was telling our client about experiences in that regard. Yes. We didn't speak to her. And there you go. Disconnect, right? But I didn't feel, there goes that discernment and the patriarch thing. But I didn't feel that we needed to. Question, why not? Answer, because I'm above the law. No, it doesn't say that, but I mean, right? Answer, I didn't feel that we needed to. The statements were believable and credible under the view that we gave them. Oh my God. Question, did you do any due diligence to check the... Oh, okay, it doubled. To check, okay, did you do any due diligence to check the veracity of these statements? Mr. Zelm's form, I don't know what says that. Answer, I've already said we didn't do anything about that. We didn't talk to anybody. Oh my God. We didn't do any investigation of that. Question, you didn't look to see if there were any police records or none of that? Answer, no. Question, you just went solely off the word of Melani? Answer, well, and these other people and what they had said to Melani, right? This is her representation, y'all. Well, and these other people and what they had said to Melani, third party, both all day, every day. Question, so you had not spoken to Brandon's former fiance, as you term her, personally? Answer, no. Question, so it was based on what his alleged former fiance told Melani and you just ran with that? Answer, as I've said, yes. Oh gosh. All right. Your next statement is stated, quote, Melani confronted Brandon Boudreaux in June of last year with with proof of his pornography addiction and homosexual affairs, unquote. Where did you get that information from? Answer, Melani. There's a dog barking. The witness. Hang on one second. Off the record discussion. Answer, I got that information from Melani, was the answer to the question. Question, is there a reason why you did not attribute that to Melani when you made this statement? Answer, the context of this, the form and the way that this was written was, as I said, primarily written by Rob. He's the one that put it in this form of attributing quotes to both he and I. Obviously, this is all statements of our client. All of this, I guess Robert Jarvis. Yeah, Rob. Okay. All of this is attributable to Melani and other sources that we've talked about. Not talked to, right? Talked about. But we just put it in this form as a shield to her, the protection of her. Question, how is putting this in this form a shield to her? Answer, because we're not attributing the quotes to her. We're saying it from ourselves. Oh my God. It sounds even more stupid coming out of my mouth. I'm saying it. Y'all, we're saying it from ourselves. Well, so you did it. Oh my God. Question. Okay. It says answer, relaying information that our clients, that's plural, told us. It's implied in the message. Question. So what do you mean by it's implied? Answer. I think it's implied when an attorney speaks on behalf of their client that they're speaking what their client has told them. I don't have information about this case in and of myself. It comes from my client. And then here's Respondent Smith's deposition. Question. So assuming, I mean, I don't have to keep on, but I can't stop because this is oh my God. It's like, do. Okay, question. So, assuming it were true that a member of Brandon's family had engaged in child molesting earlier, how do you relate that to a shooting? Exactly. Answer. Well, you take that in whole, like the whole context, right? Melanie was just bitching about it. And it goes towards a person that they're hiding those things, and it goes towards credibility, and also another place to look to say these are things that have been done, taken care of. They need to be looked at as an alternative to the lie that has been presented by him. Oh my God. I can go be a lawyer then, y'all, if they can do it. And they, again, I don't know. Who did Brandon have a homosexual affair with, if anyone? Answer. That information, again, came from Melanie and her confrontation. And you just have to look at it. The whole statement. That was part of the confrontation that Melanie had with Brandon back in June regarding the proof of his pornography addiction and homosexual affairs. Question. What proof do you contend Melanie had? Answer. Well, she has her own observations, her own information that she relayed, and then provided the Brandon's dancing in the pink pony being grinded upon. Question. Do you answer? Remember that we're not saying that he had homosexual affairs. There you go. We're saying that Melanie confronted him with proof of the pornography addiction and homosexual affairs. Y'all, I gotta go see what the hell y'all were saying. Because hello. Oh my God. But he just also said, I don't, oh wait, whoa. I'm on the screen now. Let's see. Remember that we're not saying that he had we're not saying that. We're not saying that he was, having those affairs. We're saying that Melanie confronted him with proof of the pornography addiction and homosexual affairs. But he just said this in the same damn sentence, okay? 21, line 21. Remember that we're not saying that he had a homosexual affair. We're saying that Melanie confronted him with proof of things. Oh, these are special ones. Sometimes it's okay to just swallow. All right. That's your the more you know. All right. 20. And my question is, what proof did she have of a homosexual affair? I don't have a specific memory of what she told us at this time. Question. You mentioned his dancing in the pink pony, and your lawyer did indeed give us a short video of him dancing. What does that prove, that video? It's a corroboration of what Melanie was telling us. Duh. It doesn't say duh. Question. What does it corroborate? Answer. That she believed that he was had a pornography addiction, and that he was having homosexual affairs. Number 20. In engaging in the above conduct, respondents violated the following ethical rules: trial publicity, respect for rights of others, and prejudice to the admin of justice. And so, yeah, conditional admissions. Respondents conditionally admit that they violated Rule 42, blah, 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 blah. And freely, voluntarily, not as a result of coercion or intimidation. They're being tendered in exchange for the form of discipline stated below. So nobody was forcing them to confess or whatever, admit. And then sanctions. And I mean, it's 44 pages, but it's like, I mean, just to get, I guess, the context of it. But her own attorneys prove she's a liar. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, do y'all, I mean, or am I just crazy? Because, I mean, I've been reading some backwards stuff now. All right. He was having fun. And he said that he was grinded upon, not he was grinding on anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't help what other people do. You can just try to like, yeah. And whatever, like it is what it is. It's called don't be a homophobic. Okay. Quit trying to pin your problems in your marriage on your husband, who probably doesn't want to touch you because you're a control freaky bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Right, Joe Schmo? Right? With their own words. I love it. Melanie's dressed like a little boy in her stupid TikTok. She's on the what? Oh, yeah. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. I'm like, what? She's doing TikTok and I don't know about it. Girl, I was about to tear up the TikTok like crazy. Hold on just one second. I will pull them up. We will reminisce and maybe end right here. I don't want it to be too long because of my longness, and my videos have been long lately. We've had a lot to say. And by we, I mean me. And so tomorrow, me and Joe will be doing our, hopefully, I'm assuming we normally do our Tuesday night. See you next Tuesdays, right? We talk about ritual abuse, SRA type stories within the church, but kind of not. You know, like I gotta bring Tim Ballard and OUR. I have to introduce Tim Ballard and OUR, but it's gonna be very. I plan on like tomorrow, Joe. You don't know this yet, but you've been asking, so don't get what you ask for sometimes. That just the whole like, I don't even know how to say it, like just the structure of OUR and how it does go up to Epstein, how it does go up to Kanye West and many other questionable people and practices and alleged abuses, and it's disgusting, but so is the subject matter of these people. Like, this is what it is, and you can't sugarcoat something that ended with 5 dead murdered people and one shot at, and just all the victims in their wakes. Like, that is like the end of the story does not end with all of those victims being alive today. They're gone forever, permanently. Never will see them again. Never will they live again and feel joy, excitement. Never experience their first kiss, their wedding, their going to high school, graduating high school, holding grandbabies, feeding the ducks. Okay. You're not going to get that. Watching daughters graduate. You're not going to ever get that again. That's gone. These assholes robbed their victims of their very own, like their lives, like their basic human right to live, but they played God. And obviously Lori's still on it, So it's like, you don't get that anymore. It's gone. So it didn't end. You can't sugarcoat these things. That's aggravated me a long time, because people are like, no, it's like people only go as far as they feel comfortable with. I've noticed. Okay. Like, they can see Lori and Chad doing this and, certain aspects of the murders, but not actually hands-on. And I'm like, what? What? You're talking about a mother who purposely, methodically, meticulously, secretly plotted and planned for her children. And I'm just going to focus on the children right now, because that is the most like betraying thing you could ever tell my brain. That does not make sense to me. I don't know. I would never purposely put my child in harm's way, even if I wasn't hands-on. But she did. And she probably was hands-on. If not, that's not what the law says. The law says conspiracy to commit murder is the same as actually committing the murder. So by law, she committed the murders. She conspired. She rallied around. She made it happen. She put them in the place. She made the circumstances align, and they are no longer here. That's the evidence. The evidence are the dead bodies in their wakes. And yeah. So I try not to give Lori benefit of the doubt like a lot of people do. Okay, hold on. I remember I just pulled something up, a screenshot, and I asked, I was putting together a thing about Lori. Hold on. It says, is she still throwing her niece, Melani Boudreaux, under the bus? My AI chat GPT said, yes, absolutely. Right here. Lori Daybell explicitly states, quote, additionally, the state continuously stated defendant's line of questioning relating to Melani Boudreaux constituted a third-party defense, yet defendant never attempted to blame Melani Boudreaux for the crimes. Defendant was simply attempting to cross-examine the victim, Brandon Boudreaux, as to why he blamed defendant. Exhibits 192, 193, and 194 are attached as Exhibit 2, unquote. This paragraph directly indicates her attempts to introduce information about Melani Boudreaux during the trial. Her claim that she, quote, never attempted to blame Melani Boudreaux for the crimes, unquote, is disingenuous. While she might not have explicitly said, quote, Melani did it, unquote, the act of questioning Brandon Boudreaux about why he blamed Lori in the context of Melani and trying to introduce exhibits related to Melani, which the state viewed as opening the door. Open the damn door, girl. How many of y'all were like, open the door to Lori's prior convictions, is a clear attempt to deflect blame or create reasonable doubt by suggesting alternative perpetrators or motivations, specifically implicating Melani, as my Speechify app says it. This is a class, quote, third-party culpability, unquote, defense strategy, even if not directly stated. She is very much continuing to point fingers at Melani, albeit indirectly, to explain away Brandon Boudreaux's testimony and potentially shift blame away from herself. Yeah, I had to share that. Okay. Oh, yeah. Me. What I do in my spare time. Okay. Don't laugh. There you go. That's appropriate. Anyways, here we go. August 7th, 2019, Lori texted Chad, quote, I love you, taking Braxy, which is Melanie's kid, home now. She is asleep. She put a bunch of holes in the walls and doors. Definitely had a demon helping her. Probably 1,000. Mel wants us to come up tomorrow. I said Thursday through Sunday. What do you think, Big Daddy? Unquote. Yeah. It just does random stuff. Melanie had been told by Chad and Lori that their children had been possessed and had become zombies. I'm like, whose children? Lori's children or Melanie's children? That's kind of misleading if you really think about it. Hold on. Yeah, there you go. I'm telling you, there's no light in those eyes, okay? There maybe used to be. Kind of like, I think that's how Lori was, used to have some light in those eyes, but it is gone. She shows a lot of resentment, just from her facial expressions, which I'm not an expert. Of Lori Vallow Daybell's niece, Melani Pawlowski. He survived a drive-by shooting attempt in Gilbert, Arizona in October of 2019, which prosecutors allege was carried out by Alex Cox as part of a conspiracy involving Lori. His connection to the case runs deep, predating the alleged conspiracy against him. During Lori Vallow Daybell's trial in Idaho in April of 2023, Brandon Boudreaux Oh, took the stand, it's not showing.
Oh,
offering
My
emotional
bad.
testimony about his once close familial friendship with Lori and her then husband, Charles Vallow. He spoke fondly of JJ
I don't know if
Vallow
y'all can
and
hear it.
I'm sorry. I'm a dork. I was showing y'all
Boudreaux
is
pictures.
the ex-husband of Lori Vallow Daybell's niece, Melani Pawlowski. He survived a
Yes.
drive-by shooting attempt in Gilbert, Arizona in October of 2019, which prosecutors allege was carried out by Alex Cox as part of a conspiracy involving Lori. His connection to the case runs deep, predating the alleged conspiracy against him. During Lori Vallow Daybell's trial in Idaho in April of 2023, Brandon Boudreaux took the stand, offering emotional testimony
I never
about his
posed her
once
'cause I don't
close
like my
familial
voice.
friendship with Lori and her then husband, Charles Vallow. He spoke fondly of JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan, emphasizing that JJ was friends with his own children. In a poignant revelation, Boudreaux detailed how he had been honored to perform Tylee Ryan's baptism.
They had a great time when they spent time together.
And what about Tylee?
Hell yeah. I love being a dork. And a nerd. Poor
Yeah, I
Brandon.
spent a lot of time with Tylee as well.
Yep.
I watched her grow up. I met her when she was just little, and then
I know it's low. It's hard to hear.
got to watch her kind of grow into a teenager.
Did you have any special sort of religious
Mhm.
connection to Tylee?
Yeah. In
Oh.
our church, when you turn 8, you can get baptized if you choose. And
Hold on. I thought that said they arrested her. I was like, look, I was starting to like stutter. Okay, I told you I kind of read things backwards. Now I know why, because I read the end of that first. But yeah, arrest her, as Candace Parr says.
so
We're
when she
behind
turned
you.
8, she decided to get
144,000%.
baptized, and for whatever reason,
Mhm.
Charles wasn't comfortable doing the baptism, and so they had asked me, and I of course said yes. I would be honored to baptize her.
And you
Okay.
say in your church, what church is that? What's your faith?
I go to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Okay. And was Tylee baptized into that church?
She was, yes.
Okay. Were
I just
you
noticed
and
Brandon says, I go to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Usually they say, I belong. I just find that kind of interesting. Maybe it's just me, probably.
I met her when she was just little,
Oh,
and
let me
then
scooch.
so when she
Oh, crap. What did I do? Oh, my
Boudreaux
gosh.
is
Ryan.
a lot of time with Tylee as well.
Sorry, I ain't going to touch it.
I watched her grow up. I met her when she was just little, and then got to watch her kind of grow into a teenager.
Yes, Miss.
did you have any special sort of religious connection to Tylee?
Yeah.
Jermaine, yes.
In our church, when you turn 8, you can get baptized if you choose. And so when she turned 8, she decided to get baptized, and for whatever reason, Charles wasn't comfortable doing
Well,
the
let me take this
baptism,
off for a second.
and so they had asked me, and I of course said yes. I would be honored to baptize her.
I wish.
And
they
you
were
say in your
seen.
church, what church is that? What's your faith?
I go
Right,
to the Church
Deborah?
of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Okay. And was Tylee baptized into that church?
She was,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Were you and your wife members of the Church of Latter-day Saints?
It's true.
Yeah, we were.
Okay. And to your knowledge, what about Mr. and Mrs. Vallow?
Yes, as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did you, what about the relationship sort of that you observed between Melani Boudreaux and Lori
Yes.
Vallow?
Vagabond.
What was that
Valerie.
like?
Yeah.
Oh, that picture's scary.
You know, Melanie, she kind of had like an affinity towards Lori. She always kind of
Poor thing.
she looked at her kind of less like an aunt figure and almost more like a mom figure. She was always wanting to be like her.
Highlighting the depth of his connection to
Oh,
the
wow.
family before the alleged descent into extremist beliefs. Boudreaux testified that his relationship with the family began to fracture in 2018 as Lori Vallow Daybell became increasingly entrenched in what he described as extreme religious beliefs, influencing his then wife, Melani Pawlowski to follow suit. After escalating conflicts with his wife over these religious changes, Boudreaux sought counsel from Charles Vallow around June 25th or 26, 2019. As he stated on the witness stand, quote, "I kind of felt like he was the only person who knew what I was going through because he had also gone through those things," unquote, underscoring the shared experience of navigating Lori's shifting belief system. Tragically, this would be their last conversation, as Charles Vallow was killed just weeks later. That same July, the divorce process between Boudreaux and Pawlowski commenced. The chilling event that directly impacted Boudreaux in Lori Vallow Daybell's alleged criminal activities occurred in October 2019. After he had moved to a new residence following his divorce, Boudreaux recounted to prosecutors the terrifying night he arrived home to find someone inside a Jeep Wrangler with Texas license plates shooting at him, narrowly missing his head. The window of his car shattered, and he sped away to call 911. On the stand, he emphasized that he had only lived at his new address for a few days, and only his neighbors and his estranged wife, Melani Pawlowski, knew his location. At the time, he met with investigators and recalled a significant detail. Charles Vallow had purchased a Jeep for Tylee, which also bore Texas license plates. In the aftermath of the shooting, Boudreaux embarked on a personal quest for answers. He had saved emails from Charles Vallow that contained information about the religious meetings Lori Vallow Daybell had become involved in. Within these communications, Brandon Boudreaux encountered Chad Daybell's name, prompting him to conduct an online search. The search results yielded the obituary for Tammy Daybell. Quote, "It made me really nervous," unquote, he testified. Quote, "Because of how I was feeling, my nervousness, I reported it to law enforcement because in my gut, something felt wrong," unquote. His instincts, fueled by the information he had gathered and the near fatal shooting, proved tragically accurate. In a poignant Facebook post dated December 21st, 2019, Boudreaux shared photos of JJ and Tylee, who by then had been declared missing and endangered by the Rexburg Police Department. His accompanying plea resonated with the growing unease surrounding the case. Someone out there knows something but doesn't know how all the pieces fit together. Help me connect them with the police so we can bring justice to Charles and the other victims," unquote, foreshadowing the long and arduous journey toward accountability. Lori Vallow Daybell was ultimately found guilty by an Idaho jury in May of 2023 for the murders of her children and the conspiracy to murder Tammy Daybell. Just 5 days later, on May 17, 2023, she faced further indictment in Arizona for conspiring to murder Brandon Boudreaux. Now, Lori Vallow Daybell faced 2 charges of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder in Arizona, one for the death of her late husband, Charles Vallow, and another for the attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux, ensuring that the legal ramifications of her alleged actions continue to unfold. Juror insights and the compartmentalized nature of justice post-verdict interviews with 3 of the jurors provided valuable context on their decision-making process and highlighted the structured nature of trial proceedings. The jurors emphasized the critical role of text messages, particularly Lori referring to Charles as Ned, the zombie name, before he was killed. They also noted that Lori's demeanor, both in police interviews shown during the trial and her conduct inside the courtroom, raised red flags. Significantly, the jurors revealed they were completely unaware during the trial of Lori's prior convictions in Idaho for the murders of JJ, Tylee, and conspiracy in Tammy Daybell's death. They were also unaware that the other potential witnesses from the day of Charles's shooting, Alex Cox and Tylee Ryan, were deceased. Upon learning these facts, after delivering their verdict, they expressed shock, with one juror remarking, quote, "Wow, yeah, it's all I can say. It's just huge," unquote. Another juror lamented the inability to hear from Tylee. This underscores a fundamental aspect of the American legal system. Side mouth syndrome. Trials I are love it. compartmentalized to prevent undue prejudice. Oh, you got me, girl. Information about prior convictions or related but uncharged conduct is typically excluded to ensure the jury decides guilt or innocence based solely on the evidence presented for the specific charges at hand. While legally necessary for fairness, the jurors' reactions highlight the potentially fragmented understanding this creates, double sixes. contrasting sharply with the public's broader knowledge of the interconnected tragedies. Conclusion: accountability and the unfolding saga. The guilty verdict in the Arizona conspiracy trial represents a significant step in holding Lori Vallow Daybell accountable for the death of Charles Vallow. The prosecution successfully argued that his killing was not a spontaneous act of self-defense by Alex Cox, but a premeditated conspiracy driven by a potent combination of financial desire, however misguided, romantic entanglement with Chad Daybell, and a disturbing set of religious beliefs used to justify violence. The state effectively utilized digital evidence, text messages, and location data to counter the initial narrative and implicate Lori in the planning, a crucial element given the absence of key witnesses. Lori Vallow Daybell's decision to represent herself, coupled with her strategy of presenting no defense evidence, ultimately proved ineffective against the weight of the prosecution's case. Her focus on the burden of proof and the characterization of events as a tragedy failed to create reasonable doubt in the minds of the jurors, who reached a swift consensus. The stipulation to aggravating factors post-verdict appears as a strategic move to mitigate further damage before her next trial. This conviction firmly places Charles Vallow's death within the pattern of violence that followed, reinforcing the narrative established during the Idaho trials. It marks accountability for the event that arguably set the stage for the subsequent murders of Tylee, JJ, and Tammy Daybell. However, the legal saga is far from over. With sentencing deferred and the trial concerning the attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux scheduled for June 2nd, 2025, further chapters remain. The case continues to be a chilling study of manipulation, extremist beliefs, and the devastating consequences for multiple families caught in Lori Vallow Daybell's destructive path. The pursuit of complete justice across jurisdictions continues. I like that little tune. Wow. Okay. I didn't have much further to go on that video. I just need to do some more editing and I need to upload it. I feel bad because it's like I'm late, like I didn't make it out in time because, again, processing all that at the same time, and trying to edit. Editing takes forever. Okay. And I get tired of like hearing the same thing over and over again. Like I don't mind saying it over and over again, but I don't like listening to it. So I'm sorry. Thank y'all for listening to me over and over again. Thank you so much, little brands. I'm gonna say little brands. Little brands. Little brands. Little brands. Thank you, Beach Bum. And thank you, Beach Bum. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing stellar. And this again is from Denise and Miss Mojo Rising. We are proud of you and admire your strength. I can't even say it. Thank you again. And then, Michelle Gallego says, Summer enabled Lori and her murderous plot. Absolutely. I believe that too. Brandon comes across as a very private person. He's a Taurus like me. So I get it. I think the same thing too. And then Michelle, you cracked me up. Okay. Summer has that same side mouth syndrome that Lori has. I'm going to call it from this point forward, Summer's side mouth syndrome. Okay. You heard that here. Never. No, I'm kidding. You heard it here only. Girl, original, right? I had started another comment. Where'd it go? Native AZ girl said Sherry Dunn. I don't either. And Brandon is not transparent on why. And this is about Colby and Brandon parting ways with Timber and Wings. I watched it too, and I was kind of confused. I can assume for myself, I don't think I can watch any of those other channels anymore. I have mixed feelings. I understand. But I also, uh, of course, thoughts pop into my head all the time. And so I'm trying to understand that too, like what could possibly be going on. At first, I thought maybe it was because of Colby's health conditions, and how it's just extra and on his plate, but that's not what it sounded like. And it sounds amicable. It doesn't sound like a family brawl or anything, not like we've seen before, for sure. And it never was from those two, but that's neither here nor there. What I thought of was, what if this is like a way, like me, I'm always looking to see if they're going to charge Melanie. Okay. That's what I'm looking at. And so I'm like, what if that is on the horizon? I don't know. It's just another perspective to consider. Because I don't know either. So could it be like parting ways? Is it a way of protection of Colby? Is it a way for Brandon to control what he needs to control right now, which is his, like, his case is adjudicated. Like, Lori was prosecuted for the conspiracy to commit the attempted murder of Brandon. However, there's still Melanie. And what else could, I don't know. It's just another perspective to think of. I don't want to get too far into the weeds because I'll never know where I'm going to go with that. Anytime I do go far into the weeds, which is all the time. Yeah, I agree with you, love. Always. I hope not, Native AZ girl. Okay, and I haven't watched any of the lives lately either. So, I mean, they don't come up in my algorithm. And of course, I'm in conspiracy land lately, since the trials have ended. But, I do remember Nicholas Alaverdian, aka Arthur Knight, which is interesting, and it kind of ties into the David Hamblin case. Actually, it really ties into the David Hamblin case. He supposedly went to court today, or was supposed to. His trial day number 1 today was supposed to be today, but it's in Utah, and you have to use like WebEx. I haven't really looked. So anyways, I definitely want to keep up with Nicholas Alaverdian, aka Arthur Knight, the guy who faked his own corona death in Scotland, faked an accent, he's on an oxygen machine. He's running from David Levitt, whose brother used to be the Michael Levitt, the Utah governor of Utah. Did I say that? I said Utah governor of Utah. So there's that. Anyways, I don't know. There's just something weird going on. Like, and Dateline even aired an episode of or about Nicholas Alaverdian and Arthur Knight, same person. And there's like 9 or 10 other aliases he's used. He accused people of abusing him when he was in like a DC, I don't know. They say different letters, different acronyms for different states. And it was in Rhode Island, I believe. And he he alleged abuse, Nicholas Alaverdian, Arthur Knight. And like he was in a boys' home. And so that tracks, and it's right on brand, let's say, with what I believe and suspect is going on with David Hamblin and David Levitt and Gordon Bowen and all that ilk, okay? Which is it's allegedly the LDS Church of Satan, which is that group I've been studying that I believe are the same that Lori and Chad participated in. I believe that Tylee was a sacrifice. I believe that JJ was a sacrifice. I don't believe these people did it just for monetary gain. There's more than one way to benefit from your exploit. Okay. Oh, Nicholas Rossi. Thank you. Huggy bear. Where you been? No, I'm glad you're here. I don't know if you can email me, Huggy Bear, about. I'm putting this thing together about Tim Ballard and the structure of that system. And I mean, I'm not going to get it completely done or whatever, but I'm going to start building. Like I say going to start. I've been building it. But I plan on presenting it tomorrow night on Tuesday night with Joe Schmo on a regular Tuesday night. And anyways, I don't know. This is just kind of where I've been working. I've been working with trying to structure the network, so to speak. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, we don't know if Tylee was desecrated in that manner, which this ilk seemed to believe that. And I'm just saying this not to tie it with Tylee or say that happened. I can't say it did and or it did not. We don't know because her remains were in such bad shape, not all together. I mean, just all the things, okay? We don't know if that happened. We don't know if she was S8 or not. And these people, the people like Jody Hildebrandt, David Hamblin, in my opinion, allegedly, Gordon Bowen, allegedly, all this group of weird millionaire, billionaire, not even, we got hypnosis going on. We've got implanting memories, but then whenever, I mean, like they'll hypnotize or try to hypnotize a victim, allegedly, and say, hey, you were abused. It was satanic ritual abuse. Okay. And the victim was like, no, I didn't. No, it wasn't. Like, it didn't work on him. Thank God. Well, so that tells me everything I need to know also, but to also know that the False Memory Syndrome Foundation is a crock of shit. A very, damaging organization that was founded and started, it began because the people that started it were accused of SAing their child or children. I don't know. I wasn't there. Allegedly. So, what better way than to, do like Frank Vandersloot did and just start your own damn media company, control the narrative a little bit, muddy up the waters. That's how these people work. They're crazy. It is overwhelming, Jermaine, but we are more. I'm telling you, and I would not say this if I had not seen it with my own eyes and felt it in my own heart. Whenever Tylee and JJ were missing and everything was so uncertain, especially with Uncle Charles, I didn't know Joe. I didn't know about Joe. I didn't know who that was. I learned about Joe just like I learned about Tammy along the way. And I mean, I love them. They're part of my family. Try and take them away from me. Okay. But I'm saying that because everything was so crazy, chaotic, confusing. Definitely confusing. I don't know. We need to do I never even thought about that, Michelle. So there you go with your brilliant ideas, right? I don't know. I don't really have all that apps and everything to dig, to like look things up. I can do regular stuff, but if anybody wants to help do a deep dive on quote unquote Edgar, he never misses and he makes it look like an accident. So, Summer's Shashoon, her little sidekick, allegedly. So yeah, if anybody wants to help, that's a good little project right there because I need help. Michelle says you have to help me. No, she didn't say that, but it would be nice. Email me at Kresha0123@gmail.com if you will. And I'm trying to find banners so I can display my damn. There it is. Kresha0123@gmail.com. And yeah, so what was I saying? Plausible deniability. That's one of them. Yeah, that's Edgar right there. That is Edgar. Everybody look at the screen. Okay. And yes, I don't ever forget this because that's it. It's like, come on now. I believe, and this is just my own feelings about this. My own feelings are, it appears from my research, just from picking up what I think they're putting down. It looks like the church implores these people. It enables them, it pushes, it herds allegedly these victims to these predators. And then I don't know, it's like some weird, it's like it feeds to their vibration level. I don't really know. I don't know. It's dark and I don't quite have that figured out, but I have a good strong feeling about it, and I've had it for a long time. And I'm like, I know why they never shut down Tom Harrison, Tim Ballard, Chad Daybell, Julie Rowe. Yeah, 50 years too late. It's because they benefit from it. Okay. I don't think it has anything to do with numbers or, losing. I mean, maybe I'm sure it all factors in. I don't think they have a conscience anyways, but that's me. I believe that they benefit, they reap the rewards. You don't have a prophet, a living prophet who is also a Skull and Bone member. I mean, I don't. The church does though. And not just one. I mean, that's kind of weird, huh? Skull and Bones? Whoa, that's very, very elite, very prestigious, very, that's a secret society, straight up, all day, every day. But then Elder Ballard was also an initiate in the Skull and Bones. So there you go. And I mean, they're in there with George Bush, baby Bush, and all the Bushes, It's a very secretive organization that has a charter or chapter or whatever you call it in Utah. What is it? University of Utah? U of U? Yeah. So, I mean, that just validates and just tells me what my intuition and my alarm bells were saying and screaming all this time. So, my advice is don't worship anybody. Nobody. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're your favorite actor. I don't care if they sing your favorite song. Just be like, oh, I appreciate this song. All right. Then listen to the words of the song and be like, damn, they ruined that too. No, don't do that. But I'm just saying, like, just don't put your allegiance, you don't owe anybody anything. I don't owe you anything. Okay. That's how this goes. But it's nice to be able to give and not expect things in return. But here we are. And I'm tired of these kinds of people, these kinds of institutions, these kinds of organizations that just do like what we're talking about, how they just herd the sheep to the wolves. They're like, here you go. They're just like Lori. Okay. They're just like Melani. Here you go. Here you go. New little lamb. Here you go. Oh, and we'll pay for it too. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I mean, I've learned a lot from listening to the wise words of Jesse Hildebrandt. They are Jody Hildebrandt's niece, who revealed a whole lot. You have to listen to what's being said. And the same thing with Jody. Jody was also a Mormon therapist. David Hamblin was a Mormon psychologist. He's a doctor, Dr. Hamblin. And there's so many more. There's Maurice Harker. There's, oh my God, I can't fight the new drug. It's the same sleazeball system. It's this birds of a feather. They flock together. I'm stuttering. So I thought that prepping group is a line into the deep cult. What prepping? AVOW? I mean, it's like Fort Knox, though. I'm sure we can dig some stuff up, though. I'm pretty sure. In fact, I remember on this website, I know I need to go. We're working on over 3 hours now. Jesus. I love what I do. I do what I love, right? Time. No concept of it. Hold on, let me find it first and then I can Okay. Oh, it's getting hot in here too. Anyways, it's like 100 and, well, that might be it. Hold on. Yep. All right, let me change my aspect real quick. Oh, let me take this down. Too many things to do, all the bells and whistles. So yeah, this is 178 pages, and these are all like the FOIA docs initially, like from the beginning of the case, and it's just all the media inquiries and the detectives talking back and forth, and a little bit of like the FBI just investigative, just they're writing reports, they're talking to one another, emailing each other, communicating. And it's just interesting. And so I remember there being, I haven't looked though, I remember there being some eval stuff in there too. Oh, I didn't know what that was down there. But this site right here, I'm going to copy the link right here, and I'm going to post it in our chat right here for you to grab, because I don't really care for this website's timelines. Like some of them have been messed up, but they have a lot of these documents at the bottom, as you can see, a lot of these files. And I mean, they're interesting to read. I think everybody should go read them. And so if you want to, there's a link, crimetimelines.com/Lori Vallow, conspiracy, Brandon Boudreaux, / All right. So, nighttime though, laugh out loud. Have a great night, Mike. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Hey, y'all, thanks for hanging with me. I got dressed, did my hair, sat behind my camera and was like, whoa. So my hair will fade by the next, well, hopefully I'll have to wash it again tonight. That way it'll fade again when I see y'all tomorrow. Anyways, hey, you two bad actors. I'm so glad to see you here. I'm glad you're here. I love your style. And you're welcome. You're welcome. And share it. I'm not sitting here I can't take this information with you. I just put it in the chat again. So, share it. All right. And I appreciate all the people, whomever contributed on this project. Thank you for, contributing monetarily, whatever, time-wise, just, it's about open source, crowdsource. All right. Thank you, mods. I really appreciate you. And I never tell you enough. So thank y'all so much for being here always. And I'll see you guys tomorrow on Joe Schmo, allegedly. And we're going to get into Operation Underground Railroad. Tim Ballard, Timmy, who has allegations against him right now for espionage in Argentina. I mean, we have to keep with the theme here, and it's psychos all day, every day. Okay. We're going to hem this group up. I'm already blocked from Tim's X account. So there you go. Winning. So, they troll, hey, ask them to push the like and hit subscribe. Okay. Don't be a hater. Or hit a thumbs down, whatever. All right, guys. And happy unbirthday, Chad. I hope Kohlberger gives it to you. Anyways, that's gross. Can y'all believe that though? All right. I'm going to contact Jumpsuit Pablo. I've been meaning to share this since last damn week, but
officially arrived at
we're
a
leaving.
maximum security prison.
Just a little bit of this and then I'm
specifically
putting it down.
Cell Block J. But he's not the only infamous killer in that very cell block. He's actually just a few feet
Here's a
away
link.
from Chad Daybell. And according to inside information I've received
What are
from
the
a
odds?
fellow, much
They
lesser
can dance.
known Cell Block J inmate, Brian and Chad have quickly become buddies and
Booty
have a lot
buddies.
to
Anybody
discuss
else
with
said
each
it?
other. Exactly what
I
are they
do.
talking about and how are they communicating?
Very
As someone
carefully.
who recently served 10 years in prison, I'll explain everything. Let's get started.
I love his little intro right here. His little chat going back and forth, going back and forth. Anyways, I like his channel. I do. I like what he contributes. Again, thank you. All right, guys. Justice for Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, Joe, and Brandon. First convict birthday, August 11th. Oh, wait. The first one, Lori Whore. Always. She'll always be Lori Whore in my mind. Her birthday is June 27th. Or is it 26th? I always mess it up. Either way, she messes everything else up. So I can mess up on her birthday. She's 50 plus 1 plus 1. Or 2 plus 2. Whatever the hell it was. I don't do math. You love his kitty. I know. I do want to ask him to it's a Pablo jumpsuit Pablo. Look, here's the link. Huggy Bear. If that's what you're talking about. 27. June 27. Thank you. This is the channel. And I put it in the chat. So you can click on it and you can go straight to it. Yeah. Koberger and Chatty Daddy are roomies. I mean, not in the same cell, but they can winky dink at each other, talking code like they already, Chad for sure already does. So there's that. Brian will be converted to Mormonism via priesthood blessing through remote viewing. And I don't know. What's Brian have to offer? Nothing. Nothing really. No, neither of them. So anyways, they can keep each other company and help each other look over one another's shoulders for the rest of their lives. Not our problem, right? Anyways. All right, guys. Love you and see you tomorrow. See you next Tuesday. All right. See you next Tuesday. Bye.